Constraints of time.
No refunds.
You ready? Yeah.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to say the fondest of farewells to a loved one who is both a frequent friend and occasional enemy, to an entity we find ourselves often at odds with, just as regularly entertaining ourselves with late into the night. Today, we gather to say goodbye to our left coast cousin, the Pac-12. The Pac-12 began its life 108 years ago under a different name, the Pacific Coast Conference, and since has won more team sport championships than any other conference in existence. And often the world can be a harsh, unfair, unrelenting, and cruel place, and the demise of the Pac-12 certainly brings those feelings to light. And while today we mourn the loss of a mainstay in our lives, there are those trusted members of her own family who left her, abandoned her in her hour of greatest need. Those family members who have decided to chase money and stability instead of being there for their family member. It is a sad day after they called her home for so many years. But let us choose to instead look fondly on their history together instead of the treachery that broke them apart. We remember today the names of Elway, Young, Mariota, and Plunkett. Our mind turns to names like Bush, White, OJ. For Elway. I don't know if Elway. Let's think of Elway. We stay grateful in their hour of dismissal of their home. We remember all the fond memories the Pac-12 gave to us. I have real bad handwriting, you guys. Sorry about this. And we hope that the fall of the Pac-12 serves as both a warning and a reminder that death comes for us all. The Pac-12 is dead. Long live the Pac-12. I don't know, the rain got harder. It started raining harder.
That's what happens at the end, when things are done.
Dramatic.
I was beautiful. It was moving. I will carry that with me for the rest of my life.
I have real bad handwriting, man. Like I wrote this whole thing out.
You could have just typed it.
Halfway through, I was like, what the hell was I writing last night at 11:30 when I was like, it'd be funny. What if I wrote a eulogy for the Pac-12? That'd be hilarious. And then I just, I tried.
What were you imbibing at the moment?
I wasn't. I had more than enough on Saturday.
Okay. All right.
I had more than enough on Saturday. So yesterday is what football coaches would call a get right day, Lonzo. You know what I mean?
I've heard of those. Yeah.
Yesterday was a get right day for old Rob Brown.
Sounds like your voice is a little weak from something that you might have done over the weekend. Just a little bit.
I may or may not have. All right, we can stop with the rain, right? And we could probably go ahead and dismiss the funeral march as well.
All right, let's test and see if you got it.
Yeah.
No, I mean we're testing your voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
He is done.
Yeah. Let me tell you what went down. We'll get to the Pac-12.
Let me tell you what went down.
Let me talk to you. Oh man, no, this is not good. So what happened was a while back when AEW announced Collision was going to be at the Well on Saturday, Rob Brown, along with a couple of other dear VIP P1 listeners, all bought tickets And then the day of the show, right? Like noon of the show, 9 from the Rise Guys text me. He's like, hey, dude, a little bit under the weather. I can't go to the show tonight, but I got 2 railing tickets. Do you want them? Yeehaw! Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah, 9 sounds just like that. So it's a little bit higher.
Yeehaw.
But yeah. He does that all the time.
He goes, do you want them? They're on the rail. And I was like, yeah, why not? You know, I'm like, worst case scenario, like I got some other people who want to go. I'll make sure they go to good use. So we get there, we get to the show, and we're a couple of minutes before the show starts. And I tell Joe and Jack, I'm like, look, we have these 3. They're kind of like back into the right, and I have those 2 right up there by the railing. Because none of the guys that I thought were coming to the well, none of them showed up, or at least none of them reached out. Your loss. And so I was like, paper, rock, scissors, whoever wins, we're going to sit on the railing. We're like, all right, if they do it, so me and Jack go up there, and there ends up being another seat. So Joe comes over, and we're on the railing. Well, it turns out on the railing quite literally means directly behind Nigel and the commentary crew. And I'm like, oh, well, obviously I'm going to take full advantage of this.
And Nigel has the problem of being a very soft-spoken person. Yeah. And so that's a problem.
Oh yeah. So we were popping off the whole time. I mean, I was like, this is my chance, right? If I'm ever going to get the eye of AEW, this is my shot.
I believe that there were just a few moments for sure where you actually lost your voice, and
100%.
those are on video.
100%.
So yeah, go back and watch it if you haven't watched it. Yeah.
Hard in the paint. I was team Ricky Starks, absolute. You'd have been proud, Lonzo. I was giving CM Punk the business.
Good for you.
Giving him the pain. My favorite line was at one point he came over and he grabbed the ropes and he was like leaning towards where we were, and I didn't know what to say, so I just went, "Deep dish sucks," and he glared, dude.
That was the move then.
Yeah.
You made the move right there.
Deep dish sucks, and he just
By the way,
glared.
it kind of does.
It does.
Yeah,
It doesn't suck. I just need y'all to stop pretending it's the best pizza. It's far from the best pizza. It's fine. It's fine. It's like guacamole. Like, it's fine. And when done right, it's pretty good. It's just that rarely is it done right, and it's not the best thing on any table. Anyway, we got into it with Punk for a little while. Your boy Juice came over and was talking smack directly to me, which was great.
I swear, if I went to a family reunion and Juice showed up, I would not be
Not be
surprised.
shocked at all.
No.
I can see it. We got a very large chant of ass boys going after them while they were on commentary, to the point that they both turned around and told us to shut up.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Whatever.
No. I mean, because when you mix words together, some words may be okay on radio separately, but when you put them together, it becomes something else. So I feel.
What are you saying? Some things in wrestling aren't appropriate for family-friendly radio?
Well,
we don't know. We're not that either.
Yeah.
That was great. Nigel got up at the end of the Dynamite show, and he turned around, and I was like, hey, did we ruin your broadcast? And he goes, no. He goes, you guys were great. You guys were hilarious. He goes, but about 4 different times throughout the night, my producer was in my ear like, turn your mic away from those guys. Turn your head, Nigel. I was like, oh, so we ruined your broadcast. He's like, no, not mine, but you frustrated my producers a lot.
All right, so I watched it the next day because I had a thing. And I was wondering if there was an AEW Karen.
No, well, not that came out and talked to us. They loved us. Nigel loved us. Ian loved us. Like, the whole crew on TV loved us. Big Bill came over to talk smack because every time Bill took a bump, me, Joe, and Jack hit him with the SAWFT swap. He walked over after the match, got from me to you, and goes, I don't do that anymore.
All right, so
which was great.
You guys are in the stand, so you're elevated. Was he?
Nope, we were not.
You're not elevated at all? Okay.
It
all right.
was commentary rail us. There was we were on the side. When Bill walked
over,
over,
I had a theory that you were up a little bit and he was still eye to eye with you guys.
He was looking very much down.
Okay. All right.
His big A was right there looking very much down when he screamed, I don't do that anymore.
All right. Let me talk to you short people. You know who you are. Because there's a lot of you out there. That's us taller people. That's our only time when we feel like you. So usually we don't feel like you. We feel superior because we're tall. But when a taller guy comes over and looks down at you, you're like, oh, so this is what it feels.
Huh?
I don't like this.
Yeah. It was interesting. No, it was great. Great time on Saturday. We'll talk a lot about it later on in the show. I don't know what to tell you, Zoe. We all knew how this was going to go. We all knew this is how I was going to sound today. There was no question mark. Now,
so you don't hold back, and that's I maybe as you get a little bit older, maybe you'll hold back. So just thinking, I have a job where I'm required to use my voice. Maybe just back off a couple dBs where
there is a picture. I'll put it up on the stream in a little while because I forgot to transfer it over to my computer. But there's a picture of me when good old JR came out, which was a huge surprise. I did not know Jim Ross was going to be there.
Yeah, it was a surprise for me too, seeing that on there.
So when JR came out and we're sitting at the commentary table, JR comes around the table, and when he does, he reaches out and he shakes the hands of all the people right behind the commentary. So I got a handshake with JR. And what was very cool is one of our listeners, Trey, who was up in one of the boxes, because the only people who associate with us, Lonzo, are the type of people who sit in commentary boxes. He got this really, really cool picture. I'll move it to the stream in a little while of me shaking hands with JR, but like the whole crowd, but you can see me shaking hands with JR. But then they go to put Jay on TV. And Jack elbows me. And he's like, dude, we're going on TV. They're putting JR on the mobile cam. So soon as they do, we're both like, that's Jim Ross. That's JR, by God, that's JR.
All right. So here's the thing. You and I talked about this off the air, but I got to bring this on the air because so that handshake may have been the last time that JR's ever on TV. And it's your fault because you were so loud that JR came back, thought, okay, because it's well known.
That's fine.
JR had a problem, and he said, I got to step away.
That's fine.
And then he comes back one time only, probably, and then Rob retires JR.
That's fine if you want to hit me with that. But if he does come back, I also get the credit of being such a great fan that I inspired him to make his permanent return. All right? I get either got all the credit or none of it.
All right, I'm gonna paraphrase Keegan here. Was it a firm Oklahoma handshake?
Oh yeah. He was handshaking, man. And I will tell you know what? I was gonna save this story for later, but I'm gonna tell it now. All right. For the record, Rob did something real nice this weekend. All right, and I'm taking full credit. I'm absolutely patting myself on the back for it. There was this is gonna be multiple things wrapped up into one quick story, and then in the next segment, we will get back to the death of the Pac-12 because it's over. It's over. They're done, right?
He's wearing tie-dye, ladies and gentlemen. Did you expect it to stay ordered? You can't be ordered when you're wearing tie-dye.
Correct. I'm giving my shout out to old Bill. All right. So JR comes
By the
out.
way, you can see him wearing tie-dye on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the X, yo.
X. So JR came out. He walks around. He shakes everybody's hand. He's super cool. They do the match, and he gets up to leave, right? And when he gets up to leave, now, for those of you who don't know me, and Lonzo, but for those of you who don't know me, as a big wrestling guy / dude who does not hate putting on a headset and get in front of a television camera, JR is a hero, man. Like, wrestling, even Attitude Era wrestling would not have been the same without Jim Ross, right?
Hey, man, I was watching Jim Ross before you were alive.
Probably. JR is a broadcasting hero to those of us that are also wrestling fans. So as soon as that match ends and I see JR is going to get up, I grab the camera, I get it into selfie mode. I'm like, ready. I'm like, all I want, right? I don't do autographs. I would rather have a picture with a guy, right? So JR stands up and he turns around. And here's the second part of this story. And I hope that this person is not a listener, but it is what it is. There was, next to me on my left, there was one empty chair, okay? And about a match in, this kid, when I say kid, I'm talking 8, 9 years old. This kid walks over, and now, in fairness, he's carrying a TNT championship belt. So I'm like, all right, he knows his wrestling. So this kid walks up, and he sits in the chair next to me. And he's like, is this chair empty? I'm like, as far as I know, dude. And he's like, I'm going to sit here. I'm like, all right, my boys got seats. I don't care. I'm like, have at. And then I realized, like, 2 matches later, this kid's still here. I don't know where the hell his parents are. I am now babysitting this kid. This kid's by himself, front row, right behind the commentary table, which on one hand, I'm like, all right, that's pretty dope. But I realized some kids' parents were like, hey, Ryan, or whatever your name is. Go sit in that chair right up there on the railing. See that tall guy in the black shirt? Go sit by him. And he did it, which good on him. He took full advantage. So anyway, this kid's next to me the whole match. And when JR comes out, this kid, he's 8 or 9, he hits me and he goes, "That's Jim Ross." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I've been doing this longer than you, son." And he goes, "That's Jim Ross. I love Jim Ross."
Do you really think that to a kid? Yeah.
100%.
Duh, kid.
Yeah. Yes. Right. I'm like, I know who Jim Ross is, buddy. But I'm hype as hell because this kid clearly like
You
genuinely
should
loves
appreciate the exuberance of youth.
100% did.
But instead, it's like, come on, kid.
100% did. So JR turns around and he looks at us, and like everybody in the front row's got the camera ready. Like we're all like angling up the selfie, hoping he'll walk over and jump in it. And he goes, "All right, folks, I got time for one picture." The kid, without like thinking about it, puts his camera in my hand and leans back to JR. And I'm like, "You little son." But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? This kid's in his AEW shirt. He's got his TNT championship belt. He got as excited for JR as I did. I'm like, you know what? This picture is going to mean a lot to this kid. So I took his phone and I grabbed him his picture with JR. And JR wasn't lying. Soon as that picture got made, JR was gone. He was like, "See y'all later," and was gone. So I want all of you to know, on the Rob hates kids wagon, which is not true, but damn if anything makes Lonzo laugh harder than that, I want you all to know that instead of going, "Screw you, kid, I've been watching JR since the early 90s. This is my picture." I took a picture of this kid because I figured this picture is going to mean more to him for long. I mean, it wouldn't have meant more to him, but he would enjoy it longer than me, and he's a kid. I let that kid have a picture with my hero so that he could roll on into his life with a picture of Jim Ross. Keegan said, should have went full heel and taken a selfie with his phone. I would be lying to you to tell you I didn't think about it. I really genuinely thought about being like, you know what? Click. Let me just send this to me. But I didn't. I let that kid have his picture.
Nope.
All right?
Nope.
So can the Rob hates kids stuff stop? Because I let that kid have my picture.
All right,
with
so,
JR.
So let me throw a scenario out there for you. So let's say that you are an avid Rob Brown show fan and you're up there and you see that there's an open spot next to Rob Brown. And you know that you feel like you know Rob Brown because you hear him every day and you think, yeah, the kid hating thing, it's a bit. It's not real. If I could trust my kid to have a good time with anybody, it's going up and sitting next to Rob Brown. And so the kid already knows, hey, Rob's going to take care of me. So he's up there and he's like, okay, Mr. Brown, he's going to take care of me. He hands you the phone. He gets done and goes back and he's like, Mom, Dad, Rob was awesome. Look what he did for me. And now you just ruined that whole thing.
No, I didn't. Listen, I gave that kid that picture. I hope he loves it. I hope that picture means what I hope it did. Here's all I'm going to tell you. When Ricky Starks versus CM Punk for the real AEW championship happened, and those two guys got after it. All right. Now, I will tell you, I was squarely team Ricky Starks. That's a NOLA kid. I will always support the hometown boy, right? That's a NOLA guy. So I was squarely team Ricky Starks. I was giving Punk the biz. We're like a minute into the match. This kid, like, kind of gives me the old tap on the arm. And he's like, hey, why are you cheering against Punk? And I was like, Ricky Starks is from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. That's my guy. And he looks at me, Lonzo, without a moment's hesitation. He goes, yeah, but Ricky Starks sucks. That was it. I like CM Punk. He looks at me and goes, why are you cheering? It's my guy. Yeah, well, he sucks. Woo! And that was a moment I'm like, this kid's all right. This kid's all right. Now, I don't know which of you lunatics just turned your kid loose to go snag a ringside seat, but I guess congratulations that A, it worked, and B, dude, your kid was pretty damn cool.
All right, forget my analogy. If you let your kid be a CM Punk fan, you're not a good parent. There we go.
I like that that's what turned Lonzo. He was 90% on with this kid until the kid, and by the way, he was not pro-Punk. He was just very anti-Ricky Starks.
because he's a cheater, and so maybe this kid was more for the baby faces and not the heels.
Look, there's the confirmation. There's Joey B. Rob's not joking. The kid was fantastic. He was owning that show. He was having the time of his life, and I loved it. I just don't know what parent in the background was like, yo, 8-year-old kid, there's a ringside seat. Go grab it. I will see you after the show. And by the way, that kid stayed through the 2-hour Ring of Honor taping after it was over.
There's another thing, now
unbelievable.
that kid, when he's acting up and his mom and dad are getting on him, can go, those adults were next to me and they were doing the exact same
100%,
thing.
100%.
That's how adults act, right?
100%. Oh, man, it was great. So good show.
You did look, you look like you were having fun.
Oh,
so.
We had a ball, dude. And again, if you did not watch, I started when we went on with JR, when we got on TV behind JR, my phone blew the hell up, dude. My old radio mentor watching down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, texted me. Keegan was watching. He was sending me pictures. My favorite part was I'm sending Zoe pictures of props behind the thing. He hadn't watched the show yet. And then they all showed up on the show when he got home to watch it.
I did have it on in the studio, but I never saw you for the first hour. You guys showed up big time in the second hour. So,
As Keegan said, if camera hunting was an Olympic sport, Rob Brown would be a gold medalist. Yep, we killed it.
I will say, though, now don't ever be critical of those people in the stands who have their phone out, because every time you were on camera, you had your phone out.
You never knew when it was coming, bro.
No, I get it.
Look,
I get it.
But the amount of wrestlers and who it like directly interacted with us was great.
I watched and said, I know her. She likes popcorn.
Oh, by the way, your girl Athena was wrestling Rachel. Joey B. I don't remember who it was, but it was the kid, the daughter of one of the Hall of Famers, and we were all squarely Team Rachel. And your girl Athena was giving us the stink eye like it was nobody's business.
She's still awesome, and I'm glad she let you know it.
Oh, she cheated. I was not happy. I'm like, that is not what a face does, Athena. And then we were real Team Rachel.
She's not a face.
She wants to be.
No, she's not. Well, we don't see enough of ROH on TV. Yeah, she's a heel from everything I can tell.
I'm not going to lie. And this is not a shot at the AEW show. It is a compliment to the ROH show. We had as much fun during the ROH taping as we did during the live collision. It was great. It was great. Yes, Rachel Ellering. It was Paul Ellering's daughter that was wrestling. We were squarely Team Rachel. And Athena was not.
That's a self-report. I don't think you noticed that my mic wasn't on when I said okay.
I didn't.
I'm self-reporting. Yeah, there we go.
No, that show was great. We had a great time. Everybody was awesome. FTR was great. Punk interacted with Athena. Like, everybody was fantastic. So great show. Very much enjoyed it.
Punk, if you're still here, I don't know why you suck. Go home.
I mean, he's the real champ. He said it himself.
I wish you'd really go home.
All right, we got a lot to get to.
Well, if that belt changes hands, is it still the real world championship?
You know where you know the direction this is going.
Yeah, it's going to be.
We're getting Punk MJF Volume 2.
Well,
or Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, well, we're probably Punk's. But we're also getting down the road a Mega Punk. We know we're doing that.
That's not fair. That's not unfair. All right, coming up on the show today, we have got to get the U.S. women's national team. Did I, after staying up that late to watch wrestling, wake up at 5 a.m. to watch women's soccer? I sure did. Not because it was very early and Rob had probably one too many adult soda pops on Saturday evening. So I did watch the replay before I looked up whether we won or lost, and it was not good. Like, at all. It was just not good. So we'll talk about that. We got to talk about, obviously, college football conference expansion because the Pac-12 is dead. Long live the Pac-12. So we'll talk about what's next. Does this set up the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten for better, worse, indifferent, neither? I don't know. We'll talk all about that and more. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, we're having a debate. Vengeance is spite, correct?
See, I don't think it is. I think if vengeance comes from a place of wanting to help someone who can't help themselves.
But
so you're saying Batman is just spite?
Yes.
Batman is not spite.
He absolutely is.
No,
spite.
no.
You're
Batman is helping the oppressed, the people who are pinned down by the bad people.
Correct. If he did not want revenge on the bad guys, it doesn't not a specific bad guy. Bad guys.
You're not going to convince me here. I think vengeance can come from a place that's not evil. Sorry to hear about that, Kevin. Hope she's doing better.
All right, buddy.
And you're absolutely right, James.
Also, put this computer in queue real quick. I have a new soundbite for us. So the Pac-12's dead. In other news, no, there's no one in other news. That is the news of college football. The Pac-12 is dead. You know what's interesting?
Wait, are you going to lament like other people will on the station? I remember how college football used to be, and it should go back to it. And it's not. You got to. I don't know why. Why do things have to change?
Hell no. Kind of questions that.
I'm not, because this is the inevitable conclusion, right? Everybody wanted to make college football out to be better than the NFL. And if you are in that mindset, this was the inevitable conclusion. You cannot have the good with the bad. You are the good and not the bad, right? I understand that the buildup of college football to be our favorite sport, and it is. I'm not arguing that it's not, before anybody gets all up in their feels about it. I'm not arguing.
Well, I mean, the NFL is the top sport, but college is second.
I have no problem saying, have said, will continue to say, zero problem saying that the NFL is better football. Like, it's better football, the game itself, but everything else is better at the college level.
College is just the NFL farm team now. I mean, that's, the way they're paid and all that kind of stuff.
It's never not been that.
Well, to some people, the purists, they can always say
fine.
that.
If you want to pretend like your naivety is reality, that is your decision. It's never been anything else. It's just that some schools were bigger and better and more well-funded and were better at it. That's why they got the top talent. But here's the thing. Those, by the way, are the same people that for years and years now have been so mad at athletes wanting more power and the ability to make more money off of their name, image, and likeness, that are totally fine with all these schools jumping from conference to conference. And what reason are they jumping for?
That would be money.
That would be money.
I got to say that I don't have a problem with this because it makes my conference stronger.
It sure did.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
It sure did. Now, there were two words that I have used very frequently to describe the reasoning behind conference expansion. One is money, and the other is stability. Let me grab a clip here, if you don't mind. I'm going to grab clip 2B, if you don't mind, Lonzo. This is the president of the University of Washington. Washington and Oregon both left the Pac-12 and are headed now to the Big Ten, which is now about to be the Big 18. And she was doing a Zoom call with a couple of reporters from ESPN over the weekend. And this is why she said Washington made the jump.
Yeah, I want to be clear. This was not just about dollars and cents. This was about national visibility for our players, being on linear TV so that they could be seen, so that they could have the national exposure. It was about stability. It was about a contract that didn't have a 2 years and you can all split up. It was about having a future that we could count on and build towards. So it wasn't just dollars and cents.
Wow. That's awesome. I like her. because not everybody's a football psycho like Rob and will stay up and watch West Coast games. And she's right. It is visibility. And I didn't really think about that. That is
100%.
that is
100%.
what I'm not going to say it's an angle. That might actually be the reason.
What she just did, by the way, that was University of Washington president Anna Marie Cauchi. And she's spot on, right? This is about visibility and money. So it's not just about, I'm glad she said the word just, right? Because if she said this is not about dollars and cents, I'd call her a liar. But she said it's not just about dollars and cents. That word is doing the heavy lifting here because it is about dollars and cents, but it is about visibility too. This is about the University of Washington getting on linear TV. I told y'all last week when the Pac-12 had their meeting on, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday last week? The Pac-12 leadership had their meeting about trying to keep everything afloat. And the premise that was brought to the table was, well, we've got a streaming deal in place with Apple TV. And then the caveat came that the amount of money that contract with the Pac-12 was going to bring to that conference was going to be tied to how many subscriptions they sold. In which case I said, before Feinbaum or anybody else, with respect to those guys, because to me, we all reached the same conclusion. It just happened to be that my show started first. I said at that point, here's the deal. If I can go to school A, that's going to take me on all the dope field trips, or I can go to school B that's going to take me on most of the dope school field trips, but I've got to go door to door selling candy bars to raise the money for it. I'd rather go to school A where I get all the cool stuff and I don't have to do sales, right? When I got this job, there were like 3 or 4 radio stations that were trying to hire me. 2 of them wanted me to be able to do sales. Nope, scratch that. We're going to make it mandatory to do sales. This one was like, no, we're going to give you everything you need to do a successful show, and we don't want you doing sales because we want you focused on the product. I'm not here randomly, right? Why would I go anywhere else to get the same amount but have to do sales on top of being concerned with the product? I don't want to do that. So I told you then, I think this is over. And Famil came on ESPN on, what was it, I think Thursday. And he's like, oh, well, there's one more meeting tomorrow. There's one more meeting tomorrow, and all these schools are going to get together, and they're going to have one more conversation. And that meeting was hours away from taking when the announcement came out that Oregon and Washington were going to the Big Ten, and that Arizona State, and Utah were all going to the Big 12. It was official. It was done. They were all moving, which leaves Oregon, Oregon State, Washington State, and Cal as the remaining 4 teams in that conference. That ain't great, man. That ain't great. So the reality here is, whether you like it or not, college football is now big business. Sorry, I said Cal. It's Cal, Oregon State, Stanford, and Washington State. Those are the 4 teams still standing, right?
So I don't know how many times I've been asked, hey, do you know about this player? And you hear about them. They're a big time player, but they're in the Pac-12. And I'm like, no, because I don't stay up to watch them. So now that they're in the Big Ten, I'm going to know who they are.
100%. Listen, there's no shock here to me. The money was in the Big Ten. The money was in the Big Ten then. The money's in the Big Ten now. And that's why there's no question here. They get more money for less work and more visibility. And somebody, in fact, Texter just pointed out, and I'm glad you said this, Texter, because I was coming to this here in a minute. Texter said, Rob, did you see what the Mizzou head coach said about all athletes' mental health with the realignment? He did make a point I think no one is shining a light on. And I think that's a fair point. Eli came on the mic and he said, look, did we talk about the softball team that's now got to fly from Cal over to Jersey? Turns out, Lonzo, we did on this show.
Yeah, but I don't get that argument. Okay. So it's okay for the football team to do that. And you don't say you're worried about them, but you're worried about all the other sports.
I just think it's funny. It's funny to me, Zoe, that for years
I
and
think
years,
it'd be easier to fly a softball team over than it would a
100%.
football team, and a lot cheaper.
There's two things here. Number one, there's a lot more money in this deal. It's going to be a lot easier to fly teams back and forth now, right? Scratch that. It's going to be a lot more economically efficient to fly teams back and forth. Number two, I don't understand why all of the sudden, right? People for years have been saying we need to talk about the mental health and well-being of athletes, specifically college athletes. And by and large, and this is going to sound mean, it's not meant to be, but by and large, the reaction anytime I have brought up mental health and well-being of athletes, it's been, Rob, the new age kids are soft. Now all of a sudden we're all in. No. What this comes down to, for respectfully, wink, for guys like Eli, it's never been about this. It's just that you don't like conference expansion. You don't like what is happening to your game. And now you're reaching for anything you can reach for to make it sound like a worse idea.
Daggum stinking millennials.
Yeah. Anytime in the past, I'm not saying all of you, but anytime in the past that athletes' mental health and mental well-being has been brought up, it's always been, oh, they're soft. This new generation, it's soft. It's so soft. But now that you don't like what's happening, now, oh, I'm worried about their mental health. Are you now? Are you now? Or are you just upset that college football doesn't look the way you like it to look anymore? But let's put that aside. The Pac-12 had a plan to get itself on TV. It was not a good plan. I told you when it dropped, it was not a good plan. That I didn't even think I'm not a rocket scientist. In fact, I'm an idiot. And even I, a self-proclaimed and frequently proven idiot, looked at that and went, this is not going to work, dude. This is not going to work. Nobody is going to base their income on speculative sales. Hell, even if you're in sales, you still are going to make sure, the majority of us, even if you're in sales, you're going to make sure that your base salary is good enough to pay your bills. And then you want a higher commission, right? The Big Ten takes these two schools, Oregon and Washington, and guarantees their base salary is going to be good. The Big 12 takes those other three schools added to Arizona and Colorado, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, and it says your base salary is going to be good. You don't have to go into sales.
So before you take this shot and you decide to go there, do you consider that basically all those teams that are moving over to the Big Ten are competing for third place?
No, I don't think you have to guarantee anything.
No, what I'm saying is if you got a shot to win where you are, you're going somewhere else where there are two dominant teams at the top, and you're going to have a hard time unseating either one of those. Does that factor into whether you move or not, or is it only about the money and the visibility?
It's always only about the money and the visibility.
You may
Always has
disagree
been.
with me, but Ohio State and that team up north, those teams are usually 1 or 2 or 1 and 2 every single year.
I mean, right now they absolutely are, no doubt. Right now they are the kings of that castle. But college football is cyclical, right? A long time ago, the ACC was Florida State. A long time ago, if you wanted to win a national championship, you were going to have to beat either FSU, Florida, or Miami. Florida was the kings of college football for like a while. Now, none of that is true.
Or find a way to manipulate the computers to declare you number one.
Whatever it took. If you wanted to be a natty winner, you had to go through one of those schools. And if you wanted to win the ACC, you had to go through Florida State. If you wanted to win the college football natty, you had to go through FSU, Florida, Miami. That could not be further from the truth now, right? College football cyclical, everything changes. You don't base anything on what the landscape looks like now. You base it on what it could look like down the road. And yes, Oregon and Washington, both teams, by the way, that have played for a natty within the last 20 years, right?
Did they belong there?
I mean, Oregon did. They beat the hell out of Florida State the year they went to the playoffs, the very first year. Oregon beat the hell out of FSU. Washington, you can make a question mark about, but it was a pretty damn good football team, right? And on top of that, do you know what going to the Big Ten means? You get more money to put into facilities and recruiting and making yourself stand out more.
I get all that, but from a football standpoint, does this hurt your recruiting other than the chance to get to play in Ohio State or in Michigan? Does it hurt your recruiting?
This
No,
helps your recruiting.
but where do they fall right now? If you ranked all the teams that are in the Big Ten, and there are a lot, and it would take a while to rank them all now.
I'd say
where do they fall?
Oregon checks in no worse than 5th. No worse
Okay.
than 5th. Washington, no worse than 8th. Right? If we
And where
rank them right now,
where would they have been if they stayed in the Pac-12?
top
Right.
of the game. But again, winning a crumbling Pac-12 versus getting paid by a stalwart Big Ten.
I just want to point out it's worked out pretty well for Clemson and the ACC.
100%.
It has.
Here's the thing. This decision does not get made based on where do we fall in the football rankings right now. This decision has that's not even considered by any of this. That's not. Winning the Pac-12 makes you a little bit more money within the Pac-12, but it doesn't make you as much money as just being in the Big Ten makes you. That is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what's that paycheck look like? And the answer in the Big Ten is much better.
It always bothers me when someone says winning doesn't matter.
In the case of this, it doesn't matter. Again, Lonzo, if we got right now the opportunity, if nothing had to change except the speakers, our voices came on, and we got the call right now to go on the 4th largest station in Charlotte and make $250,000 a year, or to stay here. Well, we make more than that here, obviously, but if we got to go on the 4th largest station in Charlotte and never win best sports talk radio show in the state, but we tripled or quadrupled our salary. We didn't have to move. We got to work from home on the Comrexes, whatever. Or we could stay here and win all the awards, but make a quarter of the salary. I'm not going to say I know what your decision would be, but I know what mine would be.
All right, I'm not going to kill the bet, and I'm just going to agree with you.
Right, because that's reality.
Well, because technically I'm already on a station that goes to Charlotte.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that's not, I know, dude.
Take that, you bit.
No. And the point is, I'm not getting paid anymore, and neither is anybody else.
Yes, these are why
somewhere.
they're called hypotheticals, because it's a hypothetical situation. Hypothetically, if I could make 4 times the money,
I should have not said it. I'm trying, man.
it's a hypothetical.
I'm trying. I understand.
Hypothetically, if we got to make 4 times the money and win none of the awards, we're both jumping at
Let's
that.
see. If I got 4 times the money I make now, I still would be the lowest paid producer, probably.
Maybe, but it's still 4 times what you're paid now. All right. The point here is this has nothing to do with football. It has everything
All
to do
right.
with the
So
paycheck.
I don't agree with your point.
You don't have to. You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. I think winning's more important.
That's fine. It's
Yeah.
great. I want to live in your world where that's all that
You
matters.
don't-
But
you
if I
don't
can
really
pay
wanna
you
live
$1
in my
million
world.
if I could pay you $1 million to not win or $100 to win, and you're telling me I'd rather have one trophy and $100 over $1 million,
I think
fine, but that's a weird world. to
I
live
think
in.
if they're paying us $1 million, they would expect us to win. Right?
No, the schools expect their football programs to compete and win.
But they're
Yes.
not going to.
Not today, but it's
Okay.
not always going to be 2023.
You're right. You're right.
At some
we
point,
can
it's
go
going to be
back.
24 and then
We
25 and
can
then
go back
26.
10 years ago when those same 2 teams in the Big Ten were 1 and 2, or 20 years ago when those same 2 teams were. I'm just history.
Right, but the rest of the Big Ten sucks. Oregon and Washington don't suck.
We're going to see. We're actually going to see. We hear all those. Well, if Clemson was in the SEC, we hear all that stuff. Now we're actually going to see it.
We sure are. And we got to talk more about this, but we're like way late for a break. So let's run to it. Your thoughts, your discussion, welcome. The Pac-12's dead. What does this mean for the rest of college football? I'm going to give you some of those answers as we move forward. Rob Lonzo and you on the award-winning Rob Brown Show on the award-winning Fan Upstate. I can tell you, Steven, I am neither tired nor hangry because I was in bed at like 9 o'clock last night. I was whooped. Because your boy-
I was not. So, I mean, if anyone would be tired, it would probably be me.
Your boy not only left it all on the field at AEW Collision, But then yesterday was the hype man at the Greenville Drive game.
When did you notice that your recovery time is not what it was when you were younger?
A while ago.
Okay. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Because I get sleepy like at 5:30 and it's bothering me. I'm like, so this is what it means to be old. I don't like that. So I got to get up and move around because I don't want to fall asleep at stinking 5:30. I understand needing a nap, but this is like old bones tired. And that's just, no, not yet. I expect that when I'm like 77. I do apologize for killing a bit. I want to tell myself to stop, but there's this honesty thing that just wants to jump in there and go, yeah, but it does reach all the way up to Charlotte, by the way.
I know.
You should have said Atlanta. See, that would have worked. Your analogies are good. Your locations, not so much. That's all I'm saying. I hope you get a full 8 hours, Steven.
I am very rarely in bed before midnight. Last night, I was just out of gas. I went hard this weekend. Friday night, the lady friend got home, and we were gonna do outside date night, but the yard looked like crap. And the fiance has this thing where she's got a switch, and when she flips that switch and it's work time, it's work time.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
I completely get it.
So she came home, and we were going to do steaks and sit out on the back porch and drink wine and just unwind. And then she got home and she's like, yeah, no, we're doing the yard. So we cut grass and weeded it literally till the sun was gone at 9:15. And then we went to bed. Saturday, I got up, I cleaned the house. I did the baseball show. We went to AEW. We tailgated for 2 hours. We did the whole show. I went home and went to bed. I woke up Sunday. We cleaned the house more. I did the baseball game. By the time, which by the way had a 1 hour rain delay. By the time that I got home on Sunday, I walked in, I showered, I put on the basketball shorts. I was on the couch at 8 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock, I was like, I love you. I'm going to bed.
So could you
done?
Would you come over and weed eat my driveway?
No. I don't want to see a weed eater for a month.
I was in the yard for several hours yesterday also. And the bad part is where I mow Cameron's lawn just because I like to. I just like doing it. But his grass is so thick, it keeps clogging up the thing so it won't come out. So I have to get off the mower and get down and pull all the grass out from underneath it. I mean, it gets so much that it stalls. And yes, I do it once a week. Maybe I should do it twice a week. I don't know. Maybe when I retire, that's all I'll do is like cut people's lawns. I'll get me a Bobby Boucher kind of lawnmower. Just go around, knock on people's doors. Can I cut your lawn, please? Would that be weird if someone just walked up and said, hey, I don't want any money, but can I cut your yard? Can I mow your grass? Would you let them? I'm not asking would she. I'm asking would you?
So I have in the past, like if a kid rolls up with a lawnmower, is like, do you need 100%? Here's $30. Go bananas.
Obviously, and this is my fault. I did
have one time where a kid came up, asked me to cut the grass, and then did a terrible job. And I'm like, how do I handle this? Do I break this kid's heart and be like, I can't pay you for that? Save that discussion. We're coming back to that.
Okay.
We're coming back to that.
Since we're only going to be here briefly for this segment.
Yeah, I want to come back to that. All right, so Pac-12 is dead. There's a reason. It's because other conferences can pay more. I told you guys, the inevitable conclusion of unregulated capitalism is monopolies. That's not a question. That's a statement. That's just a fact. If things are unregulated, monopolies are the inevitable conclusion of unregulated capitalism. It just is what it is, okay? That's what we are. That's where we are in college football. That's just where we are. The Big Ten and the SEC have all the money now. And they basically, at this point, can just have whoever they want. The Big 12 is like that startup company that, like, maybe they can swing it. But what happens if they do? All they turn into is another conglomerate, right? Maybe they can swing it. But even if they can, all that happens is at some point, the people who made them able to do so, if the SEC, the Big Ten decide they want them, is they buy them. So, we can sit here and we can put all the pageantry and all the pride and all that. That is all fan exclusive stuff. The schools don't care about that. The schools don't care about the traditions and the pageantry and all that. They care about the money. That's it and nothing else. And that's where we are. Oregon and Washington realize they get more money from the Big Ten. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado realize they get more money from the Big 12. And now the other four schools, Cal, Oregon State, Stanford, and Washington State, are stuck holding an empty bag and are going to get left out. A lot of schools are about to be knocked down into second-tier status. Now, there's good news. Down the line, there's going to be a conference that looks to pick up Stanford. They've got enough history and they've done enough, and it puts a foot into that market, right? That Stanford has the highest endowment of any school inside the Pac-12. There's value there. But I don't know what happens to Cal. Is there enough interest in Cal to get picked up? Oregon State's screwed. Who's going to want to go toe-to-toe with the Big Ten right next door to Oregon? Probably nobody. This whole thing's ugly, man. Welcome to the new age of college football, baby. We'll keep talking about it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yes, Kevin, I saw Matt Olson's 435-footer to right field yesterday in a game that the Braves lost and dropped a 3-gamer to the Chicago Cubs on the road. Yay.
It's over. It's over. It's done. Season over.
You went to Chicago and lost.
Yeah, what else can you how many games lead do they still have? Okay, all right. Surrounded by negativity. I don't know what's going on here.
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is back and bigger than ever. Don't miss the largest ticket sale of the season, Friday, August 18th. Win all tickets.
So you think maybe we could trick Rob Brown into thinking we're taking him somewhere else, and then we end up going to Mad World, and then he'll feel so guilty because he's there that he won't back out and he'd actually go in with us? We could do that, right? I'll reserve my hug for Rob for Saturday night. If he gets one, it was a good night for us. Because we go into Columbia to collect some hardware. And I'm going to be talking like this the entire night. For sure. Hello, ma'am. My name is Lonzo. I'm here for the hors d'oeuvres. I'm sorry, I'm here for the heavy hors d'oeuvres. I'm not quite sure what makes an hors d'oeuvre, a light hors d'oeuvre or a heavy hors d'oeuvre, but Rob would know. Really, when do you cross the line from hors d'oeuvres to heavy hors d'oeuvres? Is there that one dish that suddenly shows up and it's heavy hors d'oeuvres? No, I'm curious. Is it because there's more of them?
A heavy versus light. A light hors d'oeuvre is usually, it's just lighter food versus heavier food.
No, when we're talking lighter, it means less, right? Not health wise.
No, I mean the food is lighter.
Give me an example. I don't.
A light,
like a pig in a blanket.
I would put it in the heavy category, but
Would
I
you?
also would not call that an hors d'oeuvre.
Well, it depends on where you're at.
That's
Around
also true.
around here, it's definitely one,
Steve,
and that's
so
not a
what's-
crack.
What's a hors d'oeuvre? That's not it at all.
Why, Steven? Why do you do that stuff?
Hors d'oeuvres.
I'd expect that out of Kevin, but not out of you, Steven.
What the autocorrect just happened.
There you go. See, there's Kevin.
Hors d'oeuvre in French literally means outside the work. That is not a part of the ordinary set of courses in a meal.
It's basically a snack before your meal. So, I mean, so it's a heavy snack. I had to
Heavy
tell someone down the
appetizer.
hall, no, we're not
So-
getting steak dinners. We're getting heavy hors d'oeuvres. That's how that.
So a heavy hors d'oeuvre is something that will fill you up. Like we're not going to serve you a whole meal, but we'll put out food that you go.
that's
"Okay,
the average person will be filled up by that.
Well, if
or-
you're like me, if all they have is hors d'oeuvres, you're going ham on the hors d'oeuvres, which might be an hors d'oeuvre.
it could be, I don't know, maybe.
Ham and cheese is an hors d'oeuvre.
Do you remember any of the hors d'oeuvres from the last time we went? So it's not memorable.
No, but they gave it. Didn't they serve us? They gave us food last time.
No,
Didn't we have dinner?
no,
I
it was
thought we
hors
had dinner
d'oeuvres.
last
It was
time.
hors d'oeuvres, but
Well,
they
I
were
may have just turned the hors d'oeuvres into dinner.
when they're heavy hors d'oeuvres. I think they did have sandwiches and stuff. I think it may also coincide with whatever the theme is.
Yeah.
So we may have a bunch of country, a cowboy style hoedown food. I don't know what that
Yeehaw.
is. I don't know what that is, but we'll find out Saturday. Gable's in the first break.
It was in the first break.
We're here for the hoedown, please. Could you direct me to the hoedown? I'd like to know where the hoedown is, please.
What?
Trying to figure out where the hoedown is. Welcome to the Boot Barn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Yeah.
Hour number 3, he's not going to have a voice at all.
You know what? Sacrifices must be made, Lonzo. You very rarely are going to find Rob Brown not going 100%. It's all I do. Live life at a hundo, baby. It's how we roll here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. The award-winning Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate, which, by the way, on Saturday, I would like to congratulate the entire radio station because somebody...
You know what? We should congratulate the entire building.
Yeah, we really should.
19 out of 21 awards we're nominated for. 19 out of 21. I want to know why we're slacking. Where's
Where's the other two?
Yeah.
Who let us down on
yeah,
the other
somebody
two?
did. Somebody.
South Carolina Broadcasters Association Awards ceremony is this Saturday. It snuck up on us that quickly.
It snuck up on
And-
you. I mean,
I know. I woke up this morning. We're getting ready for work, and the fiance is like, "What are we doing Saturday?" I was like, "I don't know. I got the show. You know, I got bet for the cycle Saturday, and then, when that's over, we'll probably just kind of hang out, lay low." You know, she's like, "No, you have an awards banquet on Saturday." Oh, damn, sure do. That's right. That's right. We got an awards ceremony on Saturday, and during that ceremony, they are going to announce the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. And there are 2 shows that are finalists. One of them is bringing home the Crystal Trophy. The other bringing home a slightly smaller Crystal Trophy. And no matter who wins that thing, it is coming home to the Fan Upstate.
I'm your huckleberry.
Because the 2 shows that are finalists for South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year are the Mark Ryan Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel and the Rob Brown Show with Lonzo and Rob.
all right. I have something. I rarely ask the fans to do something, but I'm going to ask you guys to do something. I'm going to ask you guys to bombard the Offside Show all week to ask Mark Ryan, that's his name, if he's going to wear a cowboy hat. Because I need to know.
No.
I need to know.
No.
Is he
Don't
going-
ask him if he's going to. Demand that he does.
There you go. You know,
Tell him he's not committed to the bit if he doesn't wear a cowboy hat.
I was thinking about this today when we post our a picture after the victory. it's going to be a picture of a Gen Xer and a millennial show up to a hoedown. How we're going to look, the contrast of how we're going to look.
I'm a rhinestone cowboy.
That's not even rhinestone. I mean, that's
just straight up sequence, man.
it's just like somebody took Dorothy's slippers and they flattened them out and turned them into a jacket.
The red sequins are getting a run on Saturday. Can't wait. Remind me Friday to take that with me, by the way, please. Because I will forget. I will 100% forget.
Why are you putting that on me?
So that it's not on me. When I forget it and I
You
go,
know what-
hey,
you know
we
what you-
got to stop by the station to get my jacket. And she goes, why didn't you bring it home? And I can go, Lonzo didn't remind me.
Well, you could just take it home now.
No.
I mean, when you leave the day, it doesn't have to be up there for the
It
week.
doesn't come down until I wear it.
All right, fine. Let's take a picture of it. We'll just hang the picture up there, and it still will be hanging there.
That is Saturday. Can't wait. Because the best sports talk show of the year award is coming home to the fan upstate.
All right. So he's not talking about
where
this.
it should be.
He's not talking about this other thing, and he always downplay acting like he's humble. We know him. He's not. I mean, come on. The humility, it don't work. You're up for Sportscaster of the Year. I mean, us together collectively, the entire station is up. Somebody's bringing home the number.
Sports talk radio show of the year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's
But-
our focus.
But your focus should also be on the fact that you're up for Sportscaster of the Year. I think that's amazing. It's awesome that you're up for that, and you're going up against a juggernaut. There's no
really am.
there's no denying that. You're going up against a guy who's been winning for over a decade. But that doesn't mean that Rob Brown can't take him down.
I got zero expectations.
You know
That's
what?
all I'm going to say.
I'm rooting for you, and when you win it, try not to cry. That's all I'm saying. But you know what? Go ahead and cry. I'll make sure I capture that on video. I by the way, I'm going to attempt, because it was asked, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not. Don't tell anybody. I'm going to attempt to do a little Facebook Live from inside of the thing, because my show is going on, but I'm not going to be there. But I may call in and be on my show for a little bit.
Shoot, I might call in and be on your show.
I was going to say Rob might be there. Tim might be there. Well, they're all going to be there, but we might try to see what we can do. No one's done it before, which is a good reason to do it. And I just happen to have a show that's live during that time. So you might get a glimpse into what it is. I don't want us to get in trouble. But I know a guy who might get us out of trouble, who might be in charge. So we might be all right. We might be.
Can't wait. Going to be a good time on Saturday. And obviously on Saturday night, if you follow us on social, if not Monday on the air, you'll hear a lot about it. Can't wait. All right.
Before you go, I just want to say how awesome it is to have the people who participate with us every day on the stream and who are listening and make it possible for us to do what we do. And thank you for being slightly entertained.
Slightly.
Yeah, I mean,
Slightly is good. All right. Let's get to some more of this conference expansion stuff. So this all started last week. It's been going on for a while. But this most recent round of turmoil was kicked off last week when the president of the Board of Trustees in Tallahassee, Florida, down there at Florida State University, said that they were very much looking into what the next step, which the next move for Florida State might be. Then a day and a half later, the president of Florida State University came out and said, look, priority number one is to stay in the ACC. But at the same time, if the numbers don't work out, if we can't get where we want to be, then we got to go, right? They said the current ACC grant of rights agreement is not the document that will decide whether FSU stays or goes, which I told you guys was not a shock nor surprise. Of course it's not. The document that's going to decide whether FSU stays or goes is the next grant of rights agreement, whether it is the ACC's or somebody else's. The problem that FSU had is that when the ACC GOR was signed, Florida State, along with every other school in there, signed their own individual school's grant of rights away to the ACC to be bundled up in the ACC's grant of rights agreement, which means they have no leverage other than, hey, we really would like you guys to give us more money. Yeah, well, so would everybody else. That's kind of how this whole thing works, right? So, in doing so, Florida State kicked off, I think, this most recent round of discussions. We heard from North Carolina's president, Bubba Cunningham, spoke out against the whole thing. He said FSU is creating a bunch of noise for really, honestly, no good reason, right? And it turned out if FSU was trying to instigate a little bit of chaos, mission freaking accomplished, right? Because the Pac-12 had their meeting. And in their meeting, George Kliavkoff came to the table and said, hey, yo, here's the deal. We got to sell some candy bars. And the schools remaining that could have maybe busted this thing open and kept the Pac-12 together and everybody else standing pat all decided to bail. They didn't want us to have to go door to door and sell candy bars. And so they were out. And now we ended Friday with the Pac-12 having 4 teams in it. We ended Friday with the Big 12 adding 3 more, right? I called that shot. I told you guys on Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, look, here's the deal. The Big 12 can either add 1 or 3. They want to stay at an even number. So they're going to add 1 or 3. I said it makes sense that the 3-4 corner schools will be moving over, right? Those 3-4 corner schools now make a good fit. The Big 12 now controls the 4 corners market if those 3 schools move over. And within 48 hours, they did. I also said Oregon and Washington are 2 of the bigger crown jewels out there to be added to a crown somewhere. The Big 10 jumped in and grabbed those as well. I think FSU, looking at it in hindsight, I gave you a couple of different reasons, speculative reasons, but reasons that FSU might have come out and made the comments that they made. Number one, they wanted to see if any other ACC schools would publicly line up with them. The answer is no, none of them did. In fact, none of them did, and one of them, North Carolina, threw them under the bus for it, which is fine. Florida State learned exactly where they stood at that point. Number two, I thought they were trying to push the ACC a little bit. Hey, we know you don't have leverage. You better go find some. We know you don't have any leverage against the conference. Against the TV networks. But you better go find some. Well, they do now, right? Now they kind of have some. Hey, look, if you want us to be competitive with these other conferences, we need more money. And there's really one less Power 5 conference. It's now the Power 4, right? Along with the death of the Pac-12 comes the death of the term Power 5. It's not Power 4, right? So now there's only 3 other conferences. And if you're the ACC and you want to stay competitive, now the Big 12 is absolutely threatening to jump you in terms of earnings power. In fact, I wouldn't even say threaten to jump. They are like all up in your business right now. If the ACC can't go to the networks and prove, or at least argue, that, hey, look, we're about to become the 4th most valuable conference if you don't stack some more money into this thing so that we can provide better competition, we might be next. The answer is I think they are, right? I think they are because they right now being in so much turmoil and having the unhappy schools they have, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami, we've harped on those 4, very frequently. If you are the SEC or the Big Ten, those are the next targets. That's it. Them and Notre Dame, those are the next group of targets. So if the ACC wants to keep it together, they better figure out how to get more money into the coffers, and I don't know that they have enough leverage to do that unless one of the networks goes, hey, we really want to keep them afloat and not go to a Power 3 or, hell, Power 2. This whole thing, man, it's ugly. It's ugly. A couple of other news and notes that came out on Friday. Oregon State's athletic director was infuriated by the fact that Oregon and Washington, Arizona State, and Utah all jumped. The AD at Oregon State came out, Scott Barnes is his name, and said, quote, we were literally hours away from a deal that everybody could embrace. No, you weren't, dude. Respectfully, no, you weren't. He said, quote, "I've never seen so many last-minute decisions and twists and turns as I've seen through this process. Conference realignment just doesn't make sense anymore. What this enterprise was built on was regionality and rivalries. That is gone. That is leaving the Pac-12. Some of the most special pieces about our model is regionality of competition and rivalries. Those things are forgotten." Dudes, again, like, I know that rivals and regionality are what gave college football its special flair, but you all sacrificed that when it became a multi-billion-dollar industry. The business side of it does not care about that anymore. What they care about is the money, and there's not money in regionality and rivalries. There's money on your campus for that day. But outside of your little market, right? Lonzo, when's the last Cal-Stanford matchup that you tuned in for?
Wasn't there the one with the band?
Sure.
Yeah, where the band was
so
on the field.
1984, nailed it. That's my point, right? Cal-Stanford doesn't do numbers. USC, UCLA used to do numbers. Maybe it'd do numbers again, but guess what? Those two schools went together. They still got that. Arizona, Arizona State is still going to happen every year, right? But regionality and rivalry, while very nice, doesn't really matter anymore. It's not really a thing that helps you at this point. The money is in being in a power conference and having a bigger television market. Now those schools all have that, as does the conference itself. Like, I get it. Oregon State's AD Scott Barnes is lashing out. And they are lashing out because they're left out. They're left out. It hurts, it stings, it sucks, but the Beavs got left out. You don't have the market representation that Oregon has. You don't have the numbers that they have. You don't have the brand recognition that they have, so you got left out. Where do you go from here? I don't know. Good luck. My bet, the Pac-12 basically buys the Mountain West Conference now, right? Welcome, Mountain West Conference to Power 5 football. I mean, I guess. I got to think at this point, the Pac-12 is going to go grab Boise State, Cal State, Colorado State, UNLV, New Mexico, San Diego State, San Jose, Utah State, and Wyoming, and just try to salvage something. Because to those schools, that Apple TV streaming deal would look real good. Here's the thing. Apple's not going to pay for that roster, right? Because that's a super regional thing, and this is not a regional game anymore. If you wanted regionality to be important, that would have started in recruiting, right? That would have recruited in schools from California, recruiting kids from California. That would have started with kids with schools in South Carolina recruiting kids from South Carolina. But that ain't the way the game works anymore, right? Now we put coaches on airplanes and we fly them across the country, how we fly them across the world to recruit. It's not a regional game anymore. Look at the roster of any school. You're going to have a little bit of a tilt towards the region, and then you're going to have a ton of kids from other parts of the country and the world. Georgia Tech's got a kid from the Netherlands on it. Every year we see like 15 Australian punters come into the world of college football. It just is what it is now. It's not a regional game anymore. It's an international game at this point. And that's why we are where we are with conference expansion. JD just texted the show. He said it just became a game of musical chairs, and I'm afraid more schools will be left out. Yes. I don't know how else to explain it. This is a money grab by schools. It is a money grab by conferences. That's all it is, dude. There's no deeper thought to that. The conference says, can this school make us more money? If the answer is yes, you're in. The school says, can we get more money if we go to that conference? If the answer is yes, they're going to that conference. The only holdup here is the legality, the contracts that are already in place that have to be moved around. So why are so many Big 12 schools moving? Simple answer. Their current grant of rights agreement ends at the end of the school year, which is like soon, right? So at the end of the next school year. So right at the end of this football season, there's no hurdles for the Pac-12 schools. That's why they were the next schools to move. I've done told you that. The Pac-12 has been dead for months now, maybe years. This was inevitable. The Big 10 and the Big 12 can offer more money, and there were no legal barriers to the schools within the Pac-12 from taking more money. The Big 12 and Big 10 would make more money adding Oregon and Washington, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. So they took them. The only reason Florida State, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina have not jumped yet is because there are a ton of legal hurdles between here and movement. That's just where it is. If any of those schools find a way out, the ACC's dead too, man. Yeah, it may be now, it may be 2030, it may be 2033. But I don't see a path for the Atlantic Coast Conference to be able to pay out what the Big Ten and the SEC are paying out. And if the SEC or the Big Ten say, you know what, our valuation goes up with Clemson and Florida State, and they go to Clemson and Florida State and go, hey, we can pay you X $10 million a year versus the ACC paying you X 10 minus $8 million a year, they're gone. I have enjoyed listening to the talking heads the last couple of days coming through all these convoluted thoughts. Well, if this, then that. What about? How about this? What about? It's not that difficult to figure out. It's really not. Can the conference make more money with school X? And can school X make more money in that conference? If the answer to both is yes, then they jump. And if the answer to either is no, then they don't. If both entities make more money than the school's moving, assuming there's no legal barriers in the way. If the legal barriers weren't in the way in the ACC, Clemson and Florida State would both be gone already. But they're not because of the legal barriers and because of the buyout fees that are owed to the conference if those schools leave. That's it. End of discussion. Okay? It's not that tough. Why would, if Clemson leaves the ACC, there's the right, they don't care. They don't care. I mean, they might care a little, but they don't care enough not to go. If Florida State decides to bail because the Big Ten offers them more money and they make more money in the Big Ten, and because the Big Ten gets more money from FSU joining, FSU's gone, my dudes. This isn't setting the table. This is just the initial evaluation phase. There's nothing more to this. Like, I get it. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed listening to everybody kind of break this whole thing down. Well, there's this rivalry and there's that region and there's this and there's that. No, all that is, I'm sorry to say, is college football fans chest thumping about how superior their sport is to every other sport. It's in the business world, it's no different, dudes. It's no different. It's the exact same. In the business world, every school has a dollar amount attached to it the conference sees, and every conference has a dollar amount attached to it the schools see. And if those dollar amounts are higher on both ends when a school flips conferences, the school's flipping conferences. There's an equation in play, right? There's an equation in play on both sides. It is value added minus cost of leaving. The cost of leaving the Pac-12 was $0. That impacts the equation a lot. The cost of leaving the ACC in the next few years is like $120 million. That impacts the equation a lot. So either a school's going to go, you know what, the value they bring, or the conference is going to go, the value those schools bring to our conference is more than the buyout fee. We're going to eat it for long-term investment. Or they're going to go, hey, in 6 years, the cost of leaving drops to $60 million. We can eat $60 million. We're going to wait 6 years. And then it's a gamble, right? Because if the Big Ten says it's worth 60 to pay the buyout and the SEC says it's worth 75 to pay the buyout, then the SEC might make the jump on Clemson and Florida State both, and maybe they jump on over to it. Texas said, I think I'd rather listen to baseball talk. College football is over, is so exhausted. We're still going to watch and people are still going to talk about it. 100%. I am so tired of the college football fatalism. College football is over as we know it. Sure it is. But it's not over. We got like 34 days till the first college football games kick off. And you know what's going to happen the day of that game? Your social media is going to blow up of everybody getting ready and excited about college football. And you know what's going to happen when the 2024 season starts? The same damn thing. And in 25 and 26 and 27. The opponents on the other side might look different. It's still your school. It's still your football team. You're still going to be there for it. Is it over as you know it? Yes, but over as you know it does not mean over. Those are different sentences. It's not that convoluted. If I can make more money and you can make more money, it's a good partnership. We're jumping into it. It's a real simple equation. All right, we can get away from this if y'all want. We can stay on this if you want. 71307, thecarpros.com text line. Shoot us your thoughts. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Gables.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, dudes, we're back. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for waiting. By the way, how about that kick-ass picture Luke got of me shaking hands with JR from a distance?
There's a tray on it.
Or Trey, yeah.
Nice.
I'm not taking credit for that crowd being so energetic, but I didn't hurt.
Aren't you hired as a hype man for some stuff? So
Yep.
You can take credit.
Yep. By the way, this tie-dye shirt that I'm wearing, which is awesome. Remember I was talking about that 1950s alien retro hot dog stand in Charleston I wanted to go to? That's where it's from. And yes, it was very cool. The entire main restaurant, the main room of the restaurant, the ceiling just had every Star Wars ship hanging from it in a dogfight. It was awesome.
Steven, I have to talk to management, but chances are Odie will be hosting. And for the first time ever,
Happy.
it's possible that Pappy will be on the show without someone there to restrain him.
Pappy. I'm skipping the award show just to listen to that instead.
I don't want it to be the last show he's ever on. He says he will become me, and I don't know if he can do that. Whatever it ends up being, I will not go back and listen to it.
I will. I may podcast it on the way home.
I know the word that I made sure is banned from word better not show up, and it's an Irish version of what word means. And if you look up what it means,
Well, don't worry, I will right now.
well, you can't say it on the air.
Like the word in Gaelic?
In
The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you. You guys can be a part of the radio broadcast. The fan phone is open for you. 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. The text line's open for you at 71307. That is the carpros.com text line, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. And you can X me, bro, at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show on Twitter, X. You can hit Lonzo up at Lonzo on Word if you want to. Our guy, Timmy Frisbee, X is the show. I can't.
You can't. You must. Or just don't, reference that social media site at all.
He tweets the show. Come at me, Elon. How do you go from your company name becoming a verb and then being like, no, we don't want to be the only social media site ever that has a verb of a name?
I have noticed a lot of disdain for that entity, but on a certain side.
It's just,
and it's not just
you acknowledge
but,
that's a dumb brand.
But
that's a dumb branding change.
No, here's the thing.
It's a dumb branding change.
If it started out that way, it would have been fine. But any change at all is difficult for people to deal with. Like we talked about the Pac-12 being gone. That's change that people are going to have trouble to deal with. When something has been used for as long as we've been using that entity.
The Pac-12 had lost value. Twitter did not lose value by even the change in leadership.
I'm gonna point to something on the stream. Something with us recently changed, and we had to deal with that change. And for some people, it was probably pretty difficult because we had a name change here at the station. We went from being what we used to be to being the Fan Upstate now. For a lot of people, that's a problem because they're used to hearing a certain thing. They're looking for a certain thing. And when some people move to a town, they look for a certain thing and now they can't find it. So it was a transition for
Right,
us.
but our
We
old
had to change our
name-
name.
Our old name wasn't so big that it was used as a verb. You tweet. Like we got to the point where I would say, I'm going to tweet.
So you have never espened.
No, I spent a lot. I'll make a career out of it. All right. I get what you're saying, but no, it was a dumb brand change. Anyway, Tim Frisbee X's the show with a gif of a child throwing money out of a window and the tweet, this is what the networks would look like pumping any more money into the ACC. Might as well just throw that money away. Look, yes and no. The ACC is really hoping that what I said at ACC Media Days a couple of weeks ago is accurate, that this is going to be the best the conference has ever been. They need more teams involved in the landscape, right? They need Pitt and Syracuse and Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech to all be increasing in quality of product and quality of play. And they need it to happen because the difference between them and the Pac-12 is, as I mentioned, that number on the end of the equation. The equation is money brought to the conference minus cost of exit fees. That's the equation. The other equation for the schools is additional revenue from joining new conference minus collective exit fees. And if the number is a plus on both sides, there's a reason to make a move for both the school and the conference, right? So what the ACC is hoping is that all the schools that I think are getting better, Pitt, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, they got to hope I'm right. Because if all those schools get dramatically better and the ACC can get to where the Big Ten and the SEC have been, that is, we've got multiple teams in the hunt for a playoff berth, maybe even occasionally get that to happen, right? How much better position is the ACC in if, theoretically speaking, both FSU and Clemson are in the playoffs next year, right? That'd be enormous for them. How much better does the ACC look if your natty was Clemson versus Florida State next year? That'd be huge for the ACC. And now all of a sudden, the money that comes in, because they then might have some leverage to go to the networks and go, we need more money. We just produced 2 of the 4 playoff teams. We deserve more money.
Wow, that was an unusual thing you just said. So, and he did just say that.
And I also very boldly said hypothetically.
Okay.
So we're all clear.
Okay. All right.
I leaned hard on that hypothetically. But hypothetically, if that happened, then maybe the ACC's got a little bit of leverage that they can go push back on, and the networks go, you know what, you're right. And we want you to stay competitive. We want to own the grant rights to a conference that puts up 2 playoff teams. Or if Clemson and FSU go in as number 1 and number 4, which they won't because one of them's got to beat the other in the regular season. But if one of them loses in the regular season and then wins the ACC championship game and they go in 1 and 4 and they play each other in a natty, that would be enormous, right? Or 1 and 3, I guess. That would be enormous. But unless that happens, yeah, there's no reason for the networks to put money into the ACC, which means that the number attached to the equation for the school, the equation being revenue from the conference minus exit fees to leave it, if that number stays the same and doesn't go up, the inclination for those schools to stay in that conference goes down. You're going to hear a lot of people doing a lot of work to try to make it seem like there's a whole lot of variables in this. There's not, dudes. That is why when the Pac-12 grant of rights agreement went on the table last week, I came on the air that day and said, y'all, the Pac-12 is dead. Let it go. It's gone. And it's gone because the other conferences, the Big Ten and the Big 12, can now put more money on the table with half the work. It's over. And you had talking heads nationally going, oh, well, you know, they could all shake hands and link arms and do this in the name of regionality and rivalry. You want to know how I know? When your electric company calls you this month and says your bill is due, you owe $100. I want you to go, what if I paid you $30? And I'm a really big fan of your energy company. They're probably not going to take that deal, are they? They're not. If your boss came to you and said, hey, we want to reduce your salary by 25%, but all that you lose, we're going to make up and giving you company merch. You taking that deal for a few new polos? Probably not.
I got to tell you, the fan upstate stuff.
We got some good merch.
It's the best that we've ever had in the building. And I've had stuff from everyone. And that includes the music stations.
Yeah.
You know, got some DX for you.
We
The
got
fan
some real good
stuff
merch.
is, yeah.
We got some real good merch. But I promise you, if the boss came to me and said, hey, yo, we're going to cut your salary by 25%, but we're going to give you some dope new merch, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
Would you take a salary cut for billboards?
Like 2%.
Okay. All right.
Like 2%.
As long as they're digital.
But that's really just so I see my face on a billboard.
Yeah.
It's happened once in my career. Highlight.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
I had one for my old show back down in Florida. Yes. Boss, if you're listening, I will take a 1% salary reduction in return for putting me up on billboards. I agree. So, all that being said, point here is this equation is not that complicated. This equation is not that convoluted. If the school and the conference both make more money, they're going to move. If either one of those makes less money, they're not going to move. That's it. That's all this comes down to. There was no question in my brain that Oregon and Washington were leaving the Pac-12. The only question was when, and the answer was real damn quick. Like that week, dude. But here's the thing. For the people that are like, oh, I'm shocked it happened so quickly. Why? Why? If another job called you and said, we're going to pay you twice what you're making right now to come do the same job for us, how long are you thinking about that? Not real long. You're probably turning in that 2 weeks before the start of work the next day, right? It's real. I don't understand why everybody's shocked by this. We have created a world where college football is money driven. Therefore, if both parties make more money by making a move, both parties are making that move. Just like any and everybody else. It's really not that tough. Do you get paid more? Yes. Do I get paid more? Yes. Give me the dotted line to sign on, my man. I'm gone. College football is special. I'm not arguing it's not special. It is a special, special thing. College Saturdays, there's nothing like it. I'm not arguing it's not special. What I'm saying is, in the world of money, it's not special. It's no different than any other sporting league. If a move makes money, you make the move. If it doesn't, you don't. All right, we got to stop talking about this. We've done too much on this. The Pac-12's dead, and y'all, I got bad news for you. The ACC's next. Unless something dramatic happens, the ACC's next. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Come on, 2 seconds. I got to go.
Realignment is a hot topic. Tar Heels AD Bubba Cunningham recently reassured the staff that there are no plans
Not big enough.
No, because I'm guessing it's probably like the same size as mine. Because he has a, you know, we've got huge noggins.
Surgery and drugs. So if you have pain due to injury or arthritis, this is a remarkable opportunity that you need to check.
At least you stick to your guns there, Kevin.
So call QC Kinetics now at 864-448-3772.
Always about your guys. Always about your guys.
My favorite thing about the upstate is the pride I sense in each of you that you're from here.
So that game is also teaching me more about proper dice and things. But now that since I have a good enough idea of how to do it, I think if someone's playing for the first time, they'll be like, "What's ID for? What is how to?"
I'm the before picture. Visit Smith and James at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville, and visit them online at smithandjames.com.
Missing your NFL team's out-of-market games?
There is a spell on there, and I forget the name of it, that will cause your enemy to fall down laughing.
In D&D, it is. It's from Tasha's. It's what's the name of it? Hideous Laughter.
Yeah, that's it. Did you see Chris's picture of the goat? He's texted you. He's been texting both of us. That's why he's not here. He set it up, but since you didn't look at it, it didn't work for you. There was a pause between seeing the goat and then actually showing the picture of the goat, which I figured he was doing that. But it's a cute looking goat.
It is a cute goat.
And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra
No, I don't think so.
who get in early.
I played both games, but I've never been to a casino, so I wouldn't know. Rob probably has.
I used to play spades all the time. When we did basketball road trips, all we did was play spades.
See, we played rummy more, but and there's a card game called Rook. My papa was into it, so all my uncles were into it too, and it's the same kind of thing like spades, if I recall.
Gluing down your priceless face. So Duracell made one part of childproofing simple. Our lithium-coin batteries are the only ones coated in a non-toxic product to help discourage swallowing.
I was laughing at Chris's
I know.
comment, not
I know
yours.
you weren't laughing at mine.
Not yours.
I knew that when I sent it.
No. Why you want to troll me through some? Fine, whatever. I probably deserve it. Although Chris has heard it enough, he might actually get it.
Texter said, yeah, you've been talking about it for over an hour and a half. That horse is dead. I don't know. Here's where I fall on this whole conference expansion talk stuff. Lonzo, stop me when you think I've gone too far, and I'm being serious about that. Last Friday, when it was announced that those five schools were moving, bringing the Pac-12 down to 4, a 108-year-old conference, right? Did it not feel like that was a day that is going to be marked in college football history? Like, even with everything else that had been going on with conference expansion, Texas and Oklahoma, USC and UCLA, hell, USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 did not feel as important as the day that those 5 schools all at the same time announced that they were out of the most decorated conference in college athletics. The Pac-12 has won more team championships than every other conference. It was 108 years old, and it just died. In the matter of an hour and a half, it just died. I feel like
I need
that was
snoring.
major.
I need snoring sounds and crickets because when it comes down to it, if it's not your conference, most people don't care. I don't
Right.
think.
No, I don't disagree.
Although it does foreshadow what could happen to a conference,
Any
like you
other
said,
conference.
ACC. Well, not the
Okay,
Big
not
Ten.
the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah. But
Any conference
yeah.
that's not the ACC and the Big Ten or the SEC and the Big Ten is at risk of this happening to them, right? Again, a couple of years ago, there was a deal that went down with the Pac-12, a grant of rights agreement deal with Comcast that the last commissioner of the Pac-12 put into place. That grant of rights deal set all of this in motion. We didn't know it at the time, but it set all of this in motion. And so we watched on Friday, we watched a conference die. There was it wasn't a long drawn out battle, right? They tried their best, but it wasn't a long drawn out battle. We saw a conference go from the most decorated and oldest Power 5 conference to effectively non-existent literally in 2 hours.
Have you ever met a Pac-12 conference fan, someone who's just all about that conference? I wonder how much the fans of that conference care that it doesn't exist anymore.
I will say no, you haven't, right?
Because I know around here, the ACC goes bye-bye. I don't think it bothers Clemson that much, depending on where they go.
For the record, and I'm including yours in this, Lonzo, the SEC is the only conference that has that. Now, if you're an SEC fan, it's the greatest thing.
Well, you know,
if
Rob,
you're not an SEC fan, you make
you've
fun.
never lived in Big Ten country.
I don't need to.
So I think you're making an assumption, and I believe that your assumption is negative.
I know
okay?
plenty of you. Okay. I have never heard the B1G chant. It's never happened.
Wow, that's because it's weird. Why would you chant that? And you can't chant Big Ten because there hasn't been 10 teams in the Big Ten forever. So there's a little bit of confusion there. So we wouldn't know what to chant.
The point is, the only conference that
I
has
will
a
say
conference champs, the
the
SEC.
Big Ten, it means just as much. There we
It's a
go.
great slogan. Doesn't fit on the t-shirt, but it's a great slogan. I think
It would
that
fit on my T-shirt because I'm sturdy.
the only conference that has that is the SEC. It's the only one. All right. So that being said, I would be willing to bet that if you clicked on one of the Fine Odyssey stations in Southern California today or in the Pacific Northwest today, it's remarkably different. Here's the thing. Washington and Oregon right now, they're celebrating this. We're about to get more money. We're going to get even better. Competition gets up, but so does everything else. Oregon State, Washington State, it's probably dire radio right there, right? Those stations are spending just as much time on this as we are, but they're very sadsies today. That's just a guarantee. The reason I am willing to spend this much time on this, and the next hour of the show, we'll do a conference expansion free hour next hour. All right. I got plenty more to get into. I got to talk Braves. I got to talk U.S. Women's World Cup. We get a NASCAR race today. Well, all but the first 75 laps of it. There's plenty more. I'll do conference expansion free hour next hour. But I think this weekend is a lesson in what the future of I think it is a day that we are going to be talking about forever in college football, because I think it's a threat to the ACC. As much as they have positioned themselves to become the EEC, I still think it's a threat to the Big 12 down the line. It's certainly a threat to the ACC. In fact, I think it's the biggest threat to the ACC. This is a day in college football history, a weekend in college football history, which we will be talking about forever. It is the biggest story of the decade in college football. Not an exaggeration. This is more important than any college football story. It's bigger than NIL. It's bigger than the transfer portal. I believe that. That's why we spent so much time on it. All that being said, next hour, conference expansion free hour, next hour on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Oh, now I'm getting a bunch of billiards trick shots instead of kittens and puppies. I'm down for it. There's some amazing stuff. I don't know why the algorithm, we haven't even said anything about pool or billiards.
Freeman and new Dodger Ahmed Rosario. In total, the 43-year-old went just 3 innings and gave up 6 runs.
So I got the granddaughter some other stuff, not just this. So someone's, oh, you're so cheap. Some water balloons. And yesterday we went out to play with the water balloons. And it started raining in the middle of the water balloons. It was awesome. It was awesome. So it's raining.
I still would have gone through with it.
No, we did. And then thunder started and we had to go in, but still, but the water balloons we got, they wouldn't bust. They have these water balloons that you can buy that has a faucet hook up onto it and it will fill a bunch of them
I've
up at
seen
once.
Those are cool.
And then as you pull them off,
Yeah.
they seal.
Yeah.
Those things, I tried to smash one on top of her head and it wouldn't smash. It wasn't like I went, well, I mean, I tried to push it and we were each hitting each other and it was like, it just wouldn't bust. So I'm going to have to go back to getting cheap water balloons that you do one at a time
Yep.
that they're actually going to bust.
Cook some hot dogs this weekend after last week's conversation.
Shaw's right there is the John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny. When your project comes up, you have to jump in and figure out.
Good for you, Steven.
I don't know what happened after the fight, Kevin, because I didn't watch the fight because exactly what I said was going to happen happened.
I know my daughter was disappointed. She forgot that it was on. She was going to watch it because her generation wants to watch it. Whether you believe they're right or not, that's the kind of influence that guy has. So
I'm not arguing that.
it's not good for your generation, Rob, but the generation he's going after, he's actually getting it. No, I'm talking about my generation stuck in my head, which is not a bad song to have stuck in your head.
Did you ever get any of the water balloons that look like a grenade as a kid? Oh, yeah, dude. Those were a staple, man.
I have never seen these, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. They're water balloons that,
It must have came out after I was 30.
No, I remember having those as like a kid. Let's see if I can find them. They came in a container that was shaped like a grenade.
Read Chris's text.
I'm finding this picture though. I have to. This is not the best picture of them, but yeah, they're water balloons that.
Yep, never seen them
Yeah.
before. Never seen them before. So
And apparently, you can still buy a whole container of them for $5.99.
really, look at what Chris just texted you. Not the last one, with the one before it. They were, Kevin. I'm not that old. I just never seen those other things. I wonder if those were regional. I never saw them up in the north where it means just as much. It's my catchphrase going further when we're talking about Big Ten football. It means just as much.
Somebody said what the Big Ten should do is split into the 10 schools that are in the middle and then 10 schools on the Pacific Coast. And you could do like the Pacific Coast division versus the Big Ten division. You could have Big Ten versus Pac-10. It'll work out great. Trey, I wish you the best in trying to get people to stop being greedy. I wish you the best. Good luck. If you figure out how to make people stop being greedy, let me know and I will help you enact that policy.
Wow.
But if you make the first
You done brought out some fire with that one.
if you make the first insinuation that maybe there's a point where people have made enough money and they should stop for the betterment of society, you're a communist Marxist. So good luck, buddy.
Hey, all you anti-capitalists, go to Canada. Well, they have capitalism in Canada too, I believe.
They sure do. And a better healthcare system. But
From
that's
what I've
another
heard,
fight for
it's a
another
worse
station.
healthcare system
You're wrong.
where you have to
Every
wait
conceivable
for
measure.
like
You do
35
not.
years.
That is an urban myth and a lie.
You're getting angry
I
again.
am because
You're
I
getting angry
dislike
again.
when people believe things
Well,
that are wrong.
You know, I
can
have the
go
same
there.
dislike. You know what? I'm not going to be louder, and I'm not going to get mad like Rob is.
I will get mad when people are
He's
wrong
gonna-
and it hurts other people.
He's going to break. Yeah, I'm hurting other
It's
people.
so
You're going to
easily
break your headphones, dude. You're going to break them. You need to calm down.
All right.
You're an angry old man. That's you're becoming angry. We're not going to talk about the
No, we're
topic,
not.
but you're becoming an angry old man. I mean, when you see the violence welling up in you
Join the stream. It got heated. That's all I'll say.
on one
Facebook.com/SportsCenter
side,
Upstate.
on one side it got
Yeah,
heated.
The site that's right.
All
right.
Okay.
Now, we're going to do a conference expansion free hour, but I did get a bunch of texts and I've been ignoring them. So let me read these and then we're done with it.
That's
all right?
exactly what a mean old man would do. Ignore the text line.
Exactly. And I don't want to be that. So let me read through the text we've gotten so far on conference expansion, and then we're done with it. All right. Texter says, no more, please. It feels like we've been talking about it forever already. Yes, we have. Again, I think it is arguably the biggest moment in the history of college football, right? I really do. I think it's that big. Texter says, has anybody mentioned that if Clemson goes to the SEC, then Gamecock fans can no longer say, well, we're in the SEC, which is their favorite thing to say.
Yeah, but I mean, that's everyone says that, not just Gamecock fans. So
Let
I
me,
mean, you can try to single them out, probably because you lost to them last year, which would make you have some ire, some anger, some regret, some wishing that maybe you were a fan of a team that didn't lose to the Gamecocks, but you're not. You're a fan of a team who absolutely lost to the Gamecocks last year. And so, what if they went to the SEC and ended up being like third in their division and still lost to the Gamecocks? Because that could happen. And I know it's your deepest, darkest fear, and it could happen. But you have a nice day, sir or madam.
There you go. That's Lonzo. That's all Lonzo. Texter said, let's see here. I really am shocked Clemson and Florida State have not bailed on the ACC yet, especially after the moves from last week. They can't. That's the problem.
And they shouldn't, because they're smart enough to know, at least in Clemson's part, that they can win the ACC every year and be in the playoff. Although next year all that changes. So
Okay.
that probably could have a lot to do with that too.
Let me respond to that one more time.
Ooh,
that
he's using that tone.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Unless winning the ACC title comes with a $10 million check.
You know what?
And it
You know what
doesn't.
it does.
doesn't
Usually,
matter.
if you're undefeated and you win the ACC, it's a berth into the national
Sure.
championship
And
tournament.
even if you win the Natty, all the bonuses combined from that still don't make up the amount of money that SEC teams are paid just to exist, just to be there.
I think Clemson's got a better shot of going to the Big Ten, because we need to get. You said we're at 18.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
We're at 18,
Correct.
so we need 20. But I think Florida State ends up in the SEC, so I think they go separate ways.
I would not. Any combination is possible. Okay. I think the Big Ten is the play for both of those schools, to be honest with you. I think the Big Ten's going to want to plant a flag in two territories that it does not currently have one, and will be willing to pay a little bit extra to do it. But winning the conference, if it pays you $50 million versus just being in the conference and maybe every now and then you win a conference championship, but you're getting paid $100 million to do it, that math don't math, dog.
Yeah, but I'm curious, and it doesn't matter in the scheme of things what the fans think, because what the fans think doesn't matter. The schools are going to do what they do, but what do the fans think about that? Would you rather have your school stay where they are, win a championship, and have a better shot at playing for a national championship, or would you rather them go somewhere else and make more money?
You know what's fun to me? What's fun to me is,
I'm a person of the people. Obviously, you're a corporation guy.
no, I'm not. Yes, of the two of us, that's definitely how this works.
Corpo Rob,
Yeah,
right over there.
For sure. Of the two of us, that's definitely the shakedown. No, look, it's real simple. we can sit here all day. I want this. I would rather be in this conference. I want to win this conference. I want to move up. None of that matters, dude. What
Wow, that was
matters
an
is no
excellent
equation.
Clemson accent, by the way. Good job.
That was everybody's accent. That's just how it works. Let's see. Jacob said, my day started with my wife's dog throwing up on the couch right after she left for work, so my day can only get better. LOL. Happy Monday. Well, I'm glad you're starting off with some positivity.
I hope
there.
it wasn't a brand new couch. You know, something
me
that
too.
you can't get that out of.
It was like your grandma's couch that's got that old plastic liner thing covering it. You spend all this money on a nice couch and then you cover it in linoleum.
By the way, my mom did that. She put plastic over the new couch. I wasn't allowed to sit on it. So I like sat on the floor for like 6 years or something like that. So
All right, let's see here. Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Yeah, we got a bunch of talk from Trey and Spur Daddy and Kevin and all these groups about conferences and divisions and all that. Somebody said on Twitter, they were like, well, what if the Big Ten adds a couple more left coast teams, right? They go get Stanford and Cal and just finish off the market. And then what the Big Ten should do, Lonzo, is they should take the 10 schools on the left side and the 10 schools in the heartland. And you could take the 10 schools in the heartland and you could call them the Big Ten because they're the originals, right? And then you take the 10 over on the left coast and you call them the Pac-10. Then you got your two divisions. You got the Big Ten and the Pac-10. The Big Ten and the Pac-10 can play each other every year in a game theoretically. Like in the Rose, we could play it in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, right? You could play the Big Ten, Pac-10 champions could play in the Rose Bowl. It works out great.
yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah. It didn't work out the first time. It's not going to work out this time either. It's just not.
All right, enough. I said no conference expansion. Let's get away from conference expansion. Texter says, Alonzo was a point. They don't really care what the fans think, but this money wouldn't exist to make decisions based upon if it weren't for the fans. Again, if you are that entrenched, stop giving them your money. Stop watching games. Any of y'all, if all of this goes away, any of y'all going to stop watching college football on Saturdays? How many of you are dedicated in 4 weeks when college football starts up on a Saturday morning? How many of you are not waking up to turn on College Game Day? How many of you are not waking up to tailgate your game? How many of you are not having friends over to
Big
watch
noon
it?
Saturday because that's where, you know.
Whatever you're watching. How many of you are committing right now because you are upset with the direction of college football? How many of you are dedicating right now to waking up and not watching college football in week 1? 0 of you. None of you are doing it. So it doesn't matter what you think. Sorry, it just doesn't. Texture said, Rob, we had cheap covers on the couch, so I was able to just take the covers off and wash them, thankfully. It's an ugly green couch. So you have to cover it up. You bought an ugly couch, so you have to cover it up.
Oh, so,
Respect that.
wait. So did you feed the dog purposefully a certain kind of food so you could hide the couch? So you can hide the couch. I get it now.
All right. Well, that texter said, I'm done. I'm bored with this boat seat tomorrow. I don't leave. We're switching now. All right. You can stay tuned. That one guy. All right. So let's talk about the United States women's national team. Sunday morning, 5 a.m., a round of 16 knockout stage game against Sweden that goes to PKs, and the Americans lose in PKs. Ouch, dude. No, you stop it. You stop it right now. I will not stand for this disrespect.
You're already mad. You know, once you reach over that angry part, you might as well just, all right, I'll turn it off. I didn't get to my favorite part.
So anyway, Team USA fails in penalty kicks. The goalkeeper made a PK. Made a PK. The strikers didn't. Y'all.
So it wasn't an own goal? It was,
Nope.
Okay. All right. Because that's
Nope,
usually what goalkeepers do, right? They
Nope,
make
it was
own goal.
PKs. And let me start with this. He's a wonderful guy.
That was way above the bar, by the way. That one by that one player, that one
Megan
kick,
Rapinoe,
that one
who
player,
just shanked it.
that just one. There's a bunch of things
It
out
was
there
bad.
about it just landing. All the videos are
was
excellent, by
bad.
the way. The videos are great.
It was a real bad effort from Megan Rapinoe, who, by the way, I think now is the proof. And I say this with all the respect for the veterans on this team. We should not have rolled out a bunch of mid and late 30-year-old players and expected to do any better. The roster construction was questionable. The tactics were bad. Andonovski, the manager of this team, has got to be done. I don't call for heads to roll very often, but you do not bring the number 1 ranked team in the world into that tournament, perform that poorly, and think, oops, we just had you didn't have an off day. You had an off tournament, right? And it wasn't an off tournament. It was a bad tournament. The offense was non-existent. The only game that the Americans even slightly resembled a team that was good enough was the last game. And at that point, it was too late. That was just awful. Let me grab clip number 1A, if you don't mind, please. So this is Alexi Lawless, the instigator-in-chief of Team US Soccer, and his immediate reaction on Fox minutes after the game came to its conclusion. Here's Alexi Lawless. Friday night and the lights are low. Looking for a place to go. Someone's getting hyped with a little dip. What a troll. What a troll from the stadium announcers playing Swedish supergroup ABBA while the Americans are breaking down on the field after a loss to Sweden.
How's that a troll? I mean,
it's not if you're Sweden.
Well, it's a major band, and all the Americans knew the song too, so that probably makes it
That's
worse.
why. You didn't even play like Swedish music. You went with ABBA. We made Dancing Queen big, not Sweden.
Might have been.
We did that.
It might have been big across the pond first. I don't know.
Anyway, they get bummed, and Alexi was spot on. Looked better in that game. Not good enough. All right.
Kevin says I'm as weird as mustard on a chicken biscuit. No, I'm weirder than that,
Good
Kevin.
line. I like that. That's a good line. It just wasn't good enough. All right. And Ananovsky is not good enough. I'm sorry.
I forgot that I took it out of utility, so they have no idea what I was doing. So I was just dancing, and they have no idea that I was.
The stadium PA was playing Dancing Queen in the background while Alexi Lawless was breaking down what went wrong for this team, and the answer was a lot of stuff.
So I guess that did look a lot weirder than I thought about.
Yep, can't wait to get. The best part about that is with no audio on it, that means that I can go pull that video clip and now just have Zoe dancing to whatever song I want.
You could, except I was singing. But
don't
you
matter.
can do that.
I can kill that.
Hey, go ahead and do it. I don't care.
It's gonna be great.
I don't care.
It
but
wasn't
Rob got mad because he's already angry. But the fact that he didn't think about that I might do that while we're playing Lawless. And I got to be honest, I didn't hear half of what he said because But
you were too busy dancing to ABBA.
I was entertaining, and I just want to say that I'm sure he's absolutely right in everything that he said.
It wasn't good enough. That's all there is. Ananovsky brought a team that he thought was just going to be able to out-athlete everybody, and they didn't out-athlete anybody. They out-athleted Vietnam, a country that had not much to it in their first ever World Cup. We out-athleted them, and even then, the over-under in that game was 6.5. We scored 3.
Is there a way to equate the age of this group on the U.S. women's team to like another sport, like saying, a team that won the Super Bowl 10 years before it comes back in and thinks they can win it again? Is that too far back?
I think any NBA player in their late 30s trying to compete in today's league,
as long as they're not LeBron,
with the exception of LeBron, and that's why LeBron is special, right? This team was old. They thought they were going to out-athlete everybody, and here's the thing: at some point, you have to realize, we can't out-athlete everybody. We're going to have to change something. We got to change tactics. We got to change. We got to change something. We got to change something, and they didn't. Let me grab another clip. Let me grab clip number 1. This is ESPN's Luis Miguel Echegaray. He is a soccer analyst and breaker downer of her. When it comes to soccer, he got asked specifically about Ananovsky, and this is what he had to say.
I just want to say breaking downer of her sounds dirty.
It's the best I could come up with.
Can I ask you? I know you're going to get mad, but could this be a factor where the coach is afraid of certain players, that if he benches them because how vocal they are in all arenas, that it's going to look like he benched them for a political reason and not because they're just old?
I don't think so, because
Can you
I can see where you're coming
Yeah,
from. I
yeah.
can see the theory, and I can see the theory being floated. I'm gonna say no.
When you think about that, if you were the coach, what you're going to deal with if you
because
bench someone
at
like
the
that.
end of the day, the U.S.
Think
women's
about when
soccer-
a starting quarterback gets benched and it's someone who's really good.
U.S. women's soccer has never once shied away from allowing their players to openly voice their opinions, to openly voice their activism, and still be a major part of the team and the process. So I don't think this is a spot where they would have all of the sudden been like, no. I think Andonovski just thought that these players who have been here 3 times, these players who have done this, these players who have been a stalwart, they're going to be the ones who know how to get us through these tough spots. And the answer was they weren't. They weren't, right? I don't think it's I have to play Megan Rapinoe because if I bench Megan Rapinoe, it's going to be bad optics. I think it's we got to play Megan Rapinoe because Megan Rapinoe has been so incredibly clutch in so many minutes for U.S. Soccer. She's got that clutch gene, and we need that. Except for, no, she didn't. She didn't. In the game she checked in late in the game, she did not look like Megan Rapinoe. And then when we needed her most in that PK situation, she blew it. She blew it. And I promise you, nobody's eaten that harder than Megan Rapinoe. That is the last moment she will ever wear a U.S. crest in legitimate conversation or legitimate competition, pardon me. The last memory Megan Rapinoe is going to have of wearing that crest, and she's got some incredible memories, a couple of World Cups, playing in the Olympics multiple times. The last memory she's going to have is sailing that PK 10 feet over the bar. Nobody's taking that harder than her, right? So I get the theory and I understand it. It's a theory I see having weight to it, but the reality is, I think he trotted her out there thinking her wisdom, her knowledge, her experience in this moment is what we need. We need somebody out there who can be the captain in these dying minutes, and it was the wrong move.
Just because you're not afraid of the moment doesn't mean that there's not someone on the team who's hungry and has more talent, because as you're talking about, there's some players who didn't, or like all these people have been talking about, players who didn't get to play.
Yes.
But you put her out there when there's probably someone sitting on the bench that's better at kicking those.
I don't think so there's 2 things here. Number 1, you don't know you're going to PKs till you go to PKs, right? Like any goal in those extra 30, any goal can be a decider. You do not manage to get to PKs.
All right. As someone who doesn't know the game as well as you, so when you get the PKs, don't you get to pick who gets to kick?
On the field.
So it has to be the last people that were on the field.
On the field.
Okay.
Now, there are some managers who in situations like that, they may save one substitute because you get a limited number of subs. They may save one substitute to send on a PK specialist, but you got to go with who's on the pitch at that moment. And at that point, Megan Rapinoe was out there. Now you put in Rapinoe again, because yes, there were players younger and better than Megan Rapinoe on the field, but and you know this as well as anybody, Lonzo, the knowledge, the wisdom of having experience in those type of situations can oftentimes be more valuable than being a younger, more athletic player, right? Somebody who's been there, who is not going to fold under the pressure versus someone who hasn't and might. You don't manage to get to PKs. You manage to end that thing with time on the clock still and to not have to go there, because PKs are a crapshoot, man. If you play those PKs again, the U.S. probably wins the next round, right? It just kind of is what it is. Unfortunately, we didn't that one. So they went out there. They went with the more seasoned veterans, and they just weren't ready. They just weren't there. They just weren't ready. So the question is, are we set up? And the answer is no. The answer is no. We have a manager who, like I said, went in there believing he was just going to utilize the best roster in the World Cup, because I still believe that it was the best roster in the World Cup, was going to just utilize the best roster in the World Cup to just out soccer and out athlete everybody. And the answer is nope. because the Swedes had a plan and their plan worked. Wear us out, right? If you're going to go up there and you're going to run a bunch of players in their mid-30s, we're just going to run around for 115 minutes, and then we're going to kill you in the last 15. That's what happened. They were happy to not score and just exhaust us and take it late into the match. And that's exactly what happened. The fact that I think we changed tactics once in that entire time. Once throughout that tournament did we change tactics. One time. And that wasn't it. In the game against the Netherlands, I don't think did we use one. I think we used 0 substitutions in that game. Why? How is that not the baseline move? I didn't understand the management from start to finish. I didn't understand the management in the game against Denmark. I didn't understand the management in the game against Portugal. I didn't understand the management in that game. And I'm not saying, I'm a wizard of soccer. I'm saying the baseline stuff, just simple stuff. We didn't even do the simple stuff. We just kept waiting for Alex Morgan to be a hero again. Well, she's 34, y'all. It's not 25-year-old Alex Morgan anymore. She's 34. We kept waiting for Megan Rapinoe to give us that one more moment where she could hit the Captain America pose. Y'all, it's not there anymore. It's just not. So I am really hoping a couple of things. Respect, because again, I've never talked to anybody who didn't have anything but the kindest words for Vlatko Andonovski. He seems like a truly, genuinely, legitimately good man. But being a good guy doesn't make you right for a job. Being a good guy doesn't mean you're ready to handle any particular job. It just doesn't. I like him. Seems like a really nice guy, but that's not it. We've got to move on to a manager who actually knows. Jill Ellis, that team would not have looked like that for Jill Ellis. That team would not have been managed that way, played that way, or been organized the way they were under Jill Ellis. And I'm going to say, the longer I watched, the more I kind of think maybe Carly Lloyd had a point when she said it is less about winning and more about the benefits of winning. It is less about winning and more about the visibility of winning. Well, look, you got to pick one. Visibility comes with winning. So you have two options. Go out there and kick everybody's ass and recognize you're going to be celebrated and put on a platform if you do, or focus on being on the platform. You know what happens when you spend more time looking at the platform that you're on instead of fighting to stay on it? You get your ass knocked off. And that's what just happened. So change it. Fix it. Text said, out of curiosity, I've been reading that Megan Rapinoe missed on purpose. Any truth? No, that's stupid. Respectfully, anybody who's saying that just doesn't like Megan Rapinoe. And that's fine. That's your right. But if you think Megan Rapinoe went in there and skied that kick for what? What good does that do her? She wanted to knock. She didn't want to. If she wanted to do that, why would she just not play? Right? That's a dumb conspiracy theory from people who just want to not like her. It was just a bad effort. Bad effort. We came out unclutch at the wrong time. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Spur Daddy. We'll get you up to date, buddy. You hang on long enough, and I'll get you talking football. All the football, both the footballs.
Tonight, chance for showers and storms, cloudy and low near 69. Tuesday, mostly sunny and high of 90. Meteorologist Jennifer Wuchitsky on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 85.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin.
I'm about to say something that Clemson fans.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Steven. It was just bad.
Craziness and conference realignment and expansion pervasive in college football right now. I want the SEC to stand pat. No more expansion, no more growth. One of the things that makes college football special is the regionality, is the pockets of the country, is the fact that you have
The anger has left the room.
the heart of America.
I will relish the calmness for just a moment.
East Coast, and there is your national champion. Well, right now, the Pac-12 is about to be non-existent. The Big 12 has representation.
You could say I instigated it, but some of you helped too. So I mean, you know.
The ACC is the entire East Coast, and the Big Ten has teams in LA and teams in New Jersey. The SEC is the last stronghold for regionality in college football, and even though Clemson and Florida State are in the southeastern portion of the United States, 16 is enough. No more mouths to feed. What say you? I'm Mark Ryan.
Offsides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. You can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact,
Father Time is indeed undefeated.
others find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
Saying in sports, don't let a falling star fall on you. That's exactly what seemed to happen. We were too low to the work. That's exactly it. 100%. 100%. We wanted to give them a ride off into the sunset with one last cup, and it cost us a cup. That's exactly what it was.
And millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find.
The anger has left the room. I will relish the calmness. People are snitching on you, Lonzo.
Yeah, I know. I know that. Yeah, I know. Just I know.
I am up in my feels this morning. I'm going to defend Zoe.
Just like I know who in the building to talk to because I know they'll go right and tell people. I absolutely know. You know, I do have a tell when I'm doing this thing when I know they're going to tell him. There's a look on my face. If you just watch close enough, you'll see it. No, we share an office, so I mean the comm app wouldn't work. Are there comm apps? Although he was playing that thunderstorm earlier, and we both about took a nap in the office. It was like, oh. I'm an empty nester now. I go home. It's quiet all the time. I relish this noise. Although the squirrels are starting to get a little more violent that time of year. I come home and the trees are shaking. It's like, they do try to hit you.
I got home from the baseball game yesterday. We got a bird feeder, and the squirrels have gotten really aggressive on my bird feeder now. I came home, there were 7 squirrels at my bird feeder.
Squirrels are punks, man. They are.
I started chucking rocks at them.
You know, you can get you an air rifle and just.
I don't want to kill them.
Why?
I just want to scare them.
Squirrel, that's good eating.
Because I'm a bleeding heart.
You pacifist.
Yep. I don't want to hurt them. I just want to scare them. I was trying to hit the tree next to them.
Why didn't you just talk to them?
Guys.
No, I meant talk to them. Scare them half to death. I'm talking stuff to my squirrels like, that all you got? You missed. And I'm yelling at the old squirrel saying you need to teach these youngsters better because they're not even close to hitting me. Hey, it's been going on throughout time, James. You used to have ninja squirrels. Now my squirrels are just too fat to be ninjas, and they just sit up there and chatter and throw acorns at me. And those spiky ball things.
Spiky, what are those? I mean, I assume they're seeds.
Chris told me what they were. I think they're called gum something. I don't know. You don't want to walk outside when your lawn is littered with them like mine will be in a couple months. They make wonderful projectiles with the lawnmower, though.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. 844-326-3663. Listen, I'm not getting into the Megan Rapinoe stuff away from football. That's if you believe whatever you want to believe. All right. There's nothing I'm going to say that's going to convince you. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to convince me. It's a waste of our breath. All I'm going to do is talk about soccer.
I believe the children are our future.
That's actually not a point where that quote's not a good one. Any conversation's made immediately better and weirder just by dropping that line for no reason. Let's see. Texture said, have you listened to or played Eli Drinkvitz's comments on realignment? Would be interesting to hear your thoughts. Yeah, we addressed it earlier. I'll say it one more time. Look, he's not wrong. I just find it very interesting that nobody really cared about the mental and health and well-being of college athletes up until the point that those college athletes started getting the things they want with the NIL and the portal, right? And then all of a sudden we care about it. And B, I find it interesting that those were never considered. Mizzou didn't have any questions about having to travel to, South Carolina, halfway across the country for a game when they joined the SEC. But now that Cal's got to go to Rutgers, now all of a sudden it's a big problem, right? No. It's not a problem. It's just that now college football is going in a direction that the powers that be, scratch that. The powers that be are thrilled about this because it's a paycheck increase for them. Now college football is going in a direction that some people don't like, and now they're weaponizing that as a justification for not changing it anymore. That ship sailed. Dude.
Yeah, this affects me now, so
Yep.
it's important.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. This is now not the way I want it, so now I care about that stuff. Look, I'm not saying he hasn't, right? I'm not saying it because I'll be real with you. Eli Drinkwitz doesn't really move the needle all that much, except for one week a month in the upstate. But I don't think I've ever heard about Eli Drinkwitz's concern for student athlete mental health in the past. I mean, again, I'm not saying he hasn't been. I'm not saying he's not concerned about it. I'm saying I've never seen him comment on until now. Now it's the thing. Now it's the thing we need to talk about. Kind of just feels to me like you just don't like the direction college football is going in. So now you're using anything you can to weaponize against it. That's it for me. That's all it feels like.
Yeah, but isn't it like that in life in general?
Yup.
I mean, yeah, that's their problem. I don't care. And then suddenly the same things happen to you, and it's
Now it's
extremely
problem.
important.
Yep.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden we're worried about it. Now all of a sudden it's a big deal. Now all of a sudden we care about the health and well-being of student athletes. Now we care. Now we care. I don't see it. Sorry. I just don't believe you. So anyway, 844-326-3663. I appreciate the texter. Let's get to a couple of other things in here before we take a break. The Braves go on the road up to Wrigley Field. They drop 2 out of the 3 against the Chicago Cubs. Y'all, the Cubs all of a sudden are good. That is 6 consecutive series wins for Chicago. They pick up Candelario at the trade deadline. That is the biggest trade, the most impactful trade that nobody talked about it. I've talked about it on the Bet for the Cycle show on Saturday from noon to 4, the nation's #1 baseball gambling show. If you ask me and my mom and maybe Cody's mom, I haven't talked to her about it yet.
Yeah, I would hope that Cody would think that. So
Yeah.
probably Mario too, but maybe not.
That would maybe not. Depends on what Saturday we ask him. Yeah, I think that pickup was probably the most unheralded. That was the 1 weak spot in the lineup for the Cubs was the third base spot, and now they fixed it. They beat Atlanta. So what went right? What went wrong? Well, again, first and foremost, you got Max Fried back. He looked good in game number 1. After that, it's been a problem. Bryce Elder has not looked the same. You got some guys that are hitting the ball very well. Matt Olson, 4 for 13, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, only 2 strikeouts, 9 straight games with an RBI, 17 total across those games. The problem is you got like Charlie Morton, who dropped his 4th straight, but is having a good year statistically speaking. 5 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks in 4.1. He did K4, but Cody Bellinger dinged him up. 99 pitches, 55 strikes, took the L, his 10th of the season. He has started 22 games, received a decision in 10, and he's 500 in games he gets decisions. It's not good, man. Charlie wasn't getting he got the 4 Ks through 4, but 1 an inning against a team that's got bats hot like Chicago has right now isn't good enough. The Braves are also losing their minds when they get guys on base. They were 4 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on in that game. The Braves had more hits, 10-7, than Chicago did in the last L, but Atlanta was outscored by 3 because of when those hits were. Atlanta had runners in scoring position and left them stranded 5 times in that contest. We saw Ronald Acuna Jr. get thrown out at the plate on a play that wasn't close at all. And oh, by the way, the next 2 batters got hits. If Ronnie doesn't try to make a ridiculous play at home, he scores. In the next 2 batters, he scores. And the Braves bringing it back within one. Orlando Arcia got doubled off at first base in the 4th inning. Kevin Pillar hit a line drive to center. Cody Bellinger caught it on the run, easily made the throw to get Arcia, who had waited to see if the catch was going to get made. It was just blunders, man. It was just blunders. Here's the good news for Atlanta. Atlanta has Spencer Strider going as they go to Philadelphia. Excuse me, as they go to Pittsburgh. They take on the Pirates. The Pirates are bad. That's good news. They're up against Osvaldo Bido. He is 2 for 2 with a 5.18 ERA. It's a bad Pirates team. So the good news is the Atlanta Braves, the first team to get to 70 wins, but they are not alone now because the Baltimore freaking Orioles are the second team to get to 70. The Braves are 70-39. The Orioles are 70-42. They've got to put something together here. They need to find their bats in this. This is the perfect series for Atlanta. This is the perfect series at the perfect time because the Pirates aren't good. You can get that momentum. They got to get the chemistry of this offense back. When the bats have gone cold in different spots, and they have, these are the types of series that allow you to put them back together. These are the types of series that let you find your way. So you got a 4-gamer on the road at Pittsburgh. You got today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. Then you got a 4-gamer to finish the road trip on the road at the Mets. Now, the Mets aren't good. That's not surprising. The Mets are currently sitting 4th in the NL East at 50-61. The Mets had a quasi-fire sale at the trade deadline. They shipped Verlander, Scherzer, and a few other guys out. They have given up not just on this year, but on next year as well. So you got 8 games coming up against bottom feeders across the National League. 4 against Pittsburgh, 4 against the Mets in New York. The Braves need to win 6 of the 8. It's that simple. You've got to win 6 of the 8. Because after that, you're back home against the Yankees next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By the way, I will be that Monday nighter in Atlanta against the Yankees. I will be there for that. No way I'm missing the Yankees play at Atlanta. Then you got a 3-gamer against San Francisco, a 3-gamer against the Mets, and then you go off on a left coast road swing. Got to get right now. These next 8 games are pivotal. A pivotal 8 games for Atlanta. You figure it out now, or the Braves are going to be in trouble. Now, the good news is you're still sitting on a 10.5-game lead over the Phillies. What's the bad news? The Phillies get hot at the end of the year. It's what they did last year. Same team that came in as a wild card team and knocked off Atlanta in a divisional series where the Braves had home field advantage. The Phillies get better as the year progresses. The Braves cannot let off the gas pedal. And if they don't get right in these 8, don't be shocked if that 10.5-game lead starts trickling down to 9.5, 8.5, 7.5. And all of a sudden the Braves have to start thinking, we got to fight for this division, as opposed to we can kind of coast. I think that might be a bit of the problem. The Braves went from a team, if the Tampa Bay Rays at the beginning of the year hadn't got off on that scorching hot start, would they win 31 out of 39 to start the year? It was a ridiculous start to the year. Now the Rays are not that anymore. They are now 3 games back of the O's in the AL East. If the Rays didn't get off to such a scorching hot start, the Braves would have been the talk of the league from week 1, right? A little bit of a slow start, but they figured it out pretty quickly. Then the Rays went down, and the Braves became the talk of the league. And in building up the best run differential in Major League Baseball, I kind of wonder a little bit if maybe they kind of took their, pardon the terrible expression here, eye off the ball a little bit, right? I kind of wonder if maybe they didn't get to a part of the season where they were like, oh, we can just coast. And it's Major League Baseball, dude. We still got a lot of games left to be played. We got a lot of games left. I think the Braves maybe hit the coast button. Matt Olson was ripping the ball. Ronald Acuna Jr. is your front runner for the NL MVP. Spencer Strider is a Cy Young candidate. Like, everything was going right. And look, I think all of us can be guilty of this, right? I will be the first to acknowledge that a couple of years back, When Lonzo and I won the Best Show in the Upstate award, I'm ashamed to say it, but I kind of took my foot off the gas a little bit, right? We gassed ourselves up a little bit. And what happened the next year? We didn't even get invited, right? We didn't get invited. So I hung that red jacket up there so I had to stare my failure in its very red sequined face every day. And now we're back. I kind of wonder if the Braves took their eye off the ball a little bit because they started reading their own press clippings. It went to their head a little bit. And I don't know what it is. I really hope it's these next two series against Pittsburgh. I hope losing that series to Chicago. And by the way, the Cubs are a good team, right? If you're going to lose a series on the road at Chicago against the Cubs team that figured it out, that's not a terrible series to lose. The next two would be. And when I say lose, I mean even a tie is a loss. Going 2-2 against Pittsburgh is a loss. Going 2-2 against the Mets is a loss. So my thought here becomes, I hope these two series back-to-back are what I now refer to as a red jacket moment for the Braves, right? I hope that L to Chicago, even if the Cubbies are good, and they are good now, by the way, I took them at, I think, plus 450 to win their division outright. By the way, they have, since the trade deadline, come from being 4 games back in that division. They're now a game and a half back of the Brewers, and they are tied with the Reds. I took them at, I think, plus 450 to win the NL Central. And I'm looking pretty good about that because the Brewers aren't that good. The Reds have fallen off, and the Pirates and the Cardinals both stink, right? So it's not an awful series to lose. But to lose that series, the way that they lost that series, I really hope it's a red jacket moment for the Atlanta Braves. It's a get-right series against Pittsburgh. It's a get-right series against New York. You have 8 games against 2 teams that are well below 500 collectively. Go win them all. Come back with 6 out of those 8, and then let's get the Yankees at home. All right, 844-326-3663 is the number if you want to be a part of the show. Text us on the CarPros.com text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Coming up later on this week, because this show is just about over. Coming up later on this week, we've got a lot to get to. Because, Lonzo, it's NFL preseason week 1. And Frank Reich has announced that Bryce Young will start for the Carolina Panthers in preseason game number 1. Let's go. Good. We have not seen Bryce Young line up against a full tilt defense yet. And now we're going to get the chance to. And sweet. That is this Saturday at 4 o'clock. They got the combine practices with the Jets this week. Combined, not combine. The combined practices with the Jets, which, by the way, Frank Reich said that he and Robert Salah are putting protocols into practice to prevent these two teams from getting into fistfights.
Says every team, and then they get into fistfights.
Yeah, we're going to find out. Jets, Cats this Saturday, 4 p.m. And BY will get the start.
Yeah, Bryce, if it's a full-on brawl, you don't want to go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. You don't want to do that.
Look, Bryce doesn't want to go toe-to-toe with anybody, respectfully. All right? Any NFL player. He could beat my ass, but not anybody else in the NFL. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll ask what the X is going on, and then we're done for the day. It's Rob. It's Alonzo. It's you. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
That's when you put Andy Dalton in because he is a villain.
Andy Dalton's not a villain, and I'm tired of pretending like he is.
He looks like a villain.
He
probably fights like a villain. His hair gets redder as the season goes. It happens every year.
His power level's over 3,000. So yesterday at the drive game, I'll tell you a story when you come back because it's a story you'll appreciate.
he confirmed that number 1 overall pick Bryce Young will see his first game action in the preseason opener against the Jets on Saturday. Frank did not comment how many snaps he's going to play, but said the plan is to be flexible with his quarterback. Broncos head coach Sean Payton announced that Russell Wilson and other starters will play in Denver's preseason opener against the Cardinals on Friday. That's going to be a change from last season, where Wilson did not play in any of the Broncos' 3 preseason matchups a season ago. The Eagles, they agreed to terms with linebackers Miles Jack and Zach Cunningham. Both of those players get 1-year deals. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples has big savings on everything you need for back to school or stocking up the office. Save on all your school essentials from notebooks to markers. Save on everything you need for travel, like luggage, portable tech, and travel-size personal items. Plus, save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples print and marketing services. And now at Staples, you can save even more with 50% back in rewards on your print order. Get everything for the office and the classroom for less at Staples. Ends 8/12. Rewards members only.
Whoa.
See associate for details.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. It's sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? Really just say Reese's and you'll get some? Okay. Reese's. Really working, actually. Reese's.
I like the stadium, Trey. I mean, but that's the only NFL stadium I've been in, and but I think the stadium's nice and it's a fun time. And I've been everywhere when I've been in luxury box. I've been in silver level? I forget what this, and I've been in the nosebleeds. I don't think there are any bad seats.
Yeah, BOA is actually a really nice stadium.
The $10, man. Yeah, do that. Boot Barn, committed. We love denim at the Boot Barn. Denim strong, like the Rob Brown Show. It reminds me, I have to make sure that I have a shirt that works with my stuff. I keep forgetting to check.
Yeah, I'm going to browse Amazon tonight. I was going to initially wear that with a black shirt, dark jeans, and black boots, but then I was like, nah, I think I want to try to find a ridiculously Western shirt with red trim that matches it.
So you're going to go with the Millennial Cowboy.
Millennial Cowboys care about your mental health.
I call each one of my frills on my shirt by name. This one is Joe. This one's Billy. All right, time to find out what the X is going on.
By
and
the
what.
way, when Lonzo was coming up with that clip, he sat in the office for about 18 minutes just listening to 100 different clips of what the hell? And it was so funny.
And that's part of our job
It
is to
was
just
so
sit there and find sound clips and things that work. And I think it would drive some people crazy hearing the same thing over and over because it's just a bunch of different inflections and trying to find the exact one that I was looking for. And I did. And I like that one. All right, the first thing that's Xing yo is Black Aquaman.
I got nothing. I mean, I know we're about to hit another DC reboot.
All right, this has nothing to do with that. There was a big brawl, which Keegan mentioned earlier. It's kind of sad too. Some of the old lady getting hit on with a chair. I mean, come on. You want to hit the young guys. You shouldn't, but if you're gonna hit them, lady's already laying down, and dude hits her with the chair, and it's a good chair shot. I don't know what started it all, but there's Black Aquaman. Also, Michael B. Phelps is also trending for the same reason.
Is Aquaman.
Yeah.
And Scuba Gooding Jr.
So this brawl is going on. My dude jumps and swims across to the pier to jump in and be a part of it. And you can see him swimming all the way across to get there.
Somebody said Kofi Kingfish.
Yeah. So I don't know what started the brawl. It looks pretty brutal. It really does. But the chair shot to the old lady that's laying there. I mean,
I don't get that.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Yeah, it's we need to watch it with the sound on and then find out exactly why it happened. But there's all kinds of names trending. That's what the X is going on right now. The next thing is PayPal.
Again, don't know why it's trending. I know that there was connection because at one point Elon bought PayPal and he wanted to change the name of PayPal to X. And then he got told, no, that's a really dumb idea because PayPal has created branding power on their name, right? Like to the point that before Venmo became a thing, if you wanted to pay somebody online, PayPal was a verb. You PayPal them. It doesn't matter what service you use. You PayPal them. And then he wanted to change that to X. That got shot down. Now he does it to Twitter. And now I can't tweet anybody anymore.
Okay. So the reason why it's X and Yo is because they just came out with a new crypto-like thing. That's
y'all still doing crypto, huh?
Yeah. I wish I had the money to even consider it. I mean, that would be nice. I would use it for something useful more so than that. The next thing that's trending is Mark of the Beast.
Okay. All right. So this one's fun and for me, very dicey.
I don't know about fun, but
it's interesting. Okay. It is interesting because I sociophilosophy is like one of my favorite things to read about.
Is if you believe in the Bible, then you believe it's a real thing. If you think the Bible is just a book, then it was a suggestion that people are acting on.
I think that people sometimes will fit things that are happening in reality. They will fit them into a worldview to reach a conclusion they want to be reached.
All right. You can now buy groceries with the palm of your hand.
Yes. There's
a
company that is experimenting with what is effectively taking the RFID chip that is in your on your credit card right now, right? Like if you have one, I have one, which I'm a big fan of. In fact, I've got it hooked up now to my phone too, where if I got to go pay for gas or whatever, I don't even have to get my wallet out. I can literally just push my phone up to the scanner and it'll be like, okay, I accept your payment. Well, a company has taken that RFID chip technology, scaled it even further down, and now they can implant it. So now you don't have to get your phone. You just put your hand up to the scanner. And obviously there are people who are saying that is a sign of the mark of the beast from Revelations.
All right. So here's a question. So over 2,000 years ago when the Bible was written and this was put in there,
it says microchips in there.
All right.
Go
with me here
go
with me here without the anger. All right.
It's not anger.
All right. If you consider it a book, which I believe you consider it just a book. So suggestion was made that when something's about to happen, that this will be a possibility that you won't be able to buy food or anything without a number on your hand or in your forehead. So did this come about because people read that so much or because it was a good idea?
Let me go down that
path.
Like
science fiction, like the phones that we hold are because of Star Trek. It's the same sort of thing, the tricorders and all that kind of stuff.
Let me answer. Let me go down that path with something that is
we probably need to hurry.
Far less controversial, which is Nostradamus. If you say vague things, anything can fit into that thing, right? When Nostradamus says the twins will fall. Well, there's a million things that I could say are the twins that have fallen. That doesn't make him smart.
I think this is a little more specific though, but I get your point.
All right. Now that we have hit a very weird point of the show.
You're right, Keegan.
We can talk more on the stream. If you guys want to come to the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate or YouTube by searching the Fan Upstate, we can keep this conversation going. Otherwise, we're out. Have a good day. NFL tomorrow. No more conference expansion except until something else happens. See you tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah.
I'm extremely
Lonzo
reluctant.
done tried to get me in trouble at the end of the show.
I'm extremely reluctant to bring certain things up, but it was trending. You know, it's still trending right there.
it's
I'm
fine.
looking at
Look,
it.
Like I said, I'm not afraid to have the conversation. I also know that that is a contentious
Scuba Gooding
conversation.
Jr.
Was
Did you
hilarious.
say that earlier? It's not. It's like the number one thing on my
Kofi
thing.
Kingfish made me lose it for a second. I was not ready for that one.
I don't know what lift every voice and swing is, but that probably has something to do with that. too.
100% it does. Also, Switchblade Jay White is now being mentioned in my who to follow list. Big Brother's watching.
He's the least of the four for me. I love the guns. I love what they're doing with
I'm a big
that.
fan.
And Juice is my guy.
I love talking about the Bible, but I would love for y'all to watch that fight on the stream. I feel like I kind of have to now.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't have to play the sound, but I do need to.
Well, to make sure the sound's muted.
Yeah.
On the video. Because we don't know what's being said. I know we're still on.
All right, here we go. I found it. All right, I'm not going to play the sound, but we'll put it up on the stream. All right, everything. All right, nothing's going on there. So everything we do and say from this point to the rest of the show, if you stick with us, you're taking the risk yourself. All right. So let's see what we got here. We got a pedal cruise boat going by. All right, we got what is that? A pontoon boat? We got a pontoon boat pulling up. Is that pontoon boat covered? It is. Explain that to me, but okay. Oh, they're just docking it. Okay. So is this the right Keegan? Is this the right video, by the way? I think it is.
Well, you can fast forward it and see if people.
No, I got to know the context now.
All right.
All right. We got some people running around in the background. Somebody tell me if this is the right.
It's like
video.
we're watching pregame here. This might be it. There seems to be an
All right.
argument starting there.
All right. Yeah, we definitely got our argument.
Because I haven't seen it from this part. If this is it.
All right. Now we got another dude running up. I don't know what we're mad about. Oh, the hat went backwards. The pants got pulled up. Clearly, this discussion is heated. All right, I assume that dude in the white shirt was like an attendant. All right, now we got some people on this side yelling over at them.
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, these all right. These
No,
dudes are on a boat.
no, because your boy is over here.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to jump in and swim over there here pretty
Okay.
soon.
All right, so yep, conversation's still heated. I like my dude still rocking the life jacket in the back. He feels awkward right now. He's like, I don't know what to do. These dudes are heated. I'm wearing a life jacket. All right, still don't know what we're mad about. All right, are those two dudes on the same team? Also, guy on the right totally looks like an SEC football coach on his day off, right?
There's been a bunch of different angles from this.
Yeah.
There are people up on top looking down too.
All right, that guy's a security guard. All right. They asked the drunk guys to move that pontoon so the paddle boat could dock. Okay. All right, that checks out. Little brother said, "Oh boy." Yeah, I don't know what's going on. This is the first I've seen or heard of this. All right, so the security guard dude has asked the other two dudes to move their pontoon boat so the paddle boat that I'm assuming the people are on could dock, and they're refusing to move their boat. I'm assuming he's like, no, dude, they have to park here. You have to move your boat. This is not your dock. Dude's probably like, hey, it's a dock. I need another Coors Light. Get out of my way. All right, so now the whole squad's having a discussion. How long is this video? Oh, we're over halfway done. Okay.
Okay, because I've just seen the brawl. I
Yeah.
didn't see all this leading up to it.
All right, so he's like, you got to move. This boat docks here. I need you to move so we can dock this boat. They're like, no, we're out of the way. There's plenty of room. Dock around. No, he can dock over there. We're good right here. Dude's like, nope, that's their spot. You gotta go. You gotta go. Oh, there it goes. All right. So dude just makes a run. Security guard's like, who needs a hat? All right, he's got him by the throat. This fight's over. This fight's over unless somebody jumps in.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, dude just got rocked. Spine buster onto the dock.
This thing is just starting.
Oh, no. Now it's just a whole group. Life vest boy is going to take one. Oh, this is not good, dude. Yeah, this is messed up. That's too many y'all. If you want to fight, you go 1v1, bro. Don't come out.
By the way, this is only getting started.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, so there's more to it. I'll have to find the rest of the video. So
yeah, you haven't even seen Chair Shot.
No, I have not. So the boat full of dudes goes after that one guy for asking the move. And then I'm assuming the rest of the dudes on the boat that's out in the water were like, nah. And one guy goes in after them. Unbelievable. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you get into a fight with a security guard, like you might win that fight, but you are not winning. You are done after that.
Well, this becomes a full-on riot later on in the thing. It does.
All right, I'll go find the
dude comes
in.
The dude who comes in with a chair shot and hits the lady that's just been knocked on the ground. He's immediately being arrested. And
100%.
No, he is. No, they're trying to put the cuffs on him.
Actually, literally is immediately arrested. Okay.
Or he's attempted to be arrested. I'm watching while we're doing the show, so I couldn't pay.
B says it goes on for like another 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's
really.
This is why it's trending. It's everywhere.
Man.
He does, Keegan. He goes off with that chair, but it's not a metal chair, but it's still, it's braced by metal. It's kind of with the plastic backing.
It's not gonna feel good.
Yeah, the lady felt it.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna go watch the end of it. I'm just gonna go.
I would call it more sad.
I don't like what I just saw.
Yeah.
I don't like what I saw. Oh, all right. So I saw that picture. The picture of the drunk guy face down and cuffs with his Crocs pulling out. Is that from that?
I believe so.
Is that from? Okay. Because I saw that with a tweet. How fast was that dude running in them Crocs? But I didn't know that was connected to it.
But the thing is, where the video is being shot, there's one young dude on that side they actually show.
Yeah.
He jumps in the water and swims all the way across. Yeah.
Dude, you got to know what you're going into because you're going to be tired. That was a haul of a swim.
Yeah.
He
gets over and I'm like, okay, it's going to take him. And he just, it's a young kid. So if you remember, there's like a younger kid.
Yeah.
It's that guy.
It's that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where the Aquaman.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't swim across that and then get right in the thick of it.
You gotta know what you're going to. By the way, Michael B. Phelps is hysterical for that. That's phenomenal. I don't know who that kid is. I want that kid on the show. Dude, how big of the brass ones do you have to carry?
I don't know. We need to
be like, let me swim across this entire canal and then get into a fight. I'd have to pick one. I'm either in the fight or I'm swimming, but I can't do both.
I couldn't watch enough to see if he was swimming across to help restore order, if he swam across to get in the middle of the fight. But I know he got in the middle of it, but I couldn't tell without the sound what he was doing.
That's why you put them Crocs in sport mode.
They have a sport mode?
Yeah, that's when you take the little thing on the front and you reverse it back to cover the heel.
Oh,
that's sport mode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm learning things today.
Yeah, man. All right, dudes. Thank y'all for hanging out. I'm gonna go watch the end of the video. I'll have more breakdown later on. You guys are the best. See you back here tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. Have a great day. Goodbye.